All right, let's roll. What's up, everybody? I'm Wes Moore. Glad you're with us. Christian Weaver, Pigskin Preacher. It is a Friday, the start of hopefully for a lot of y'all, a 4-day weekend. Monday the 3rd, Tuesday the 4th.
I know. 4 days of hot.
Yeah.
It's hot out there.
Yeah, it is. It's dangerous hot. Excessive heat warnings are out all across the state, already over 90 degrees.
So my dad and I were coming back yesterday. We had a little sojourn in Huntsville, Alabama, and then Muscle Shoals, Alabama. So we see these guys digging like a 20-foot hole, putting in pipes or something alongside the road. And I thought, this is a really rough job right now. God bless them. I mean, we got people out working on lines and trying to restore power in the Lone Oak area in different places. And fellas, be careful out there.
Oh, and the construction workers. Think of all the guys that are still working on
roofers, builders, everything.
The tornado damage. And,
absolutely.
In fact, we had a story on Fox 16 last night, and that's what they went out and talked to some of these guys, and they're just constantly taking breaks, 1 hour,
Gotta drink
a ton
that water.
of water.
You can't drink enough water when it's like this. It's just insane.
Nope. We lost a good one. A buddy of mine, Mitch Petrus, a former Razorback years ago, and to the excessive heat. And so, if it can happen to a young, athletic, big guy like that, it can happen to anybody.
Absolutely.
So, we got to learn from the tragedies of others, like Ryan Mallett. I thought it was great. David had the sheriff on from that area down there to talk about, just the beach safety and listening or paying attention to the flags, the warning flags out there, and just being careful.
Yeah, I know a bunch of people that are going to be down there in the next few weeks. And if you get caught in one of those riptides, they say don't try to swim back to the shore because it's pulling you out at a faster rate than you can fight against it. They said go parallel to the shore. Start going sideways. But when you have something like that hit you in a moment, you panic and you don't remember all of that. But if you get caught in one of those things, swim sideways and you can get out of it that way.
And remember to float. Just if you get tired, get on your back and just float.
Absolutely.
And just relax. Don't panic. We got pretty loaded show today. We're going to talk some baseball, and I know that's not something we do a lot in the zone, but it is that time of the year.
Only thing going on.
It really is.
Besides NBA free agency today.
That starts today. Is it started officially, or is there a certain time?
Tampering period ends. So they discuss contracts, and a lot of them get done now, but they're not official until.
Well, they've already gotten done. They just announced it today.
They just announce it, yeah.
So here's a question for Christian. You're a big OKC man. If Presti just gave you the checkbook and said, Christian, you're a bright young man, you're very informed, who would you pick if you could go and sign anybody that's out there available right now?
Available? Well, It's not a great free agency class.
Is there anyone that you're interested in enough that you would?
I wouldn't throw a big bag at anybody. Because like the top free agent is maybe Chris Middleton.
Yeah.
And he's solid, but he's not, like
not a game changer.
Yeah, he's not a superstar.
Right.
So I would probably sit out this free agency.
What about the kid from the Nets?
Cam Johnson?
Yeah.
He's a restricted free agent, so anybody
they can match.
Yeah, they can match anything. Same thing with Austin Reeves. And
gotcha.
What are you hearing on Austin Reeves?
The latest I heard was the Lakers will match whatever offer he gets.
So we need somebody to go out there and throw some money at him.
I think the most he can make, the absolute most, is 98 or 101. It's somewhere between.
Oh, that's it. That's all he can do.
Good grief!
How many years?
That's a lot.
The NBA is playing with monopoly money. They really are.
It would be a 4-year, I believe.
There are dudes you've never even heard of that hardly play. Like, he's only making $12 million a year. I'm like, where'd this come from?
And yesterday we talked about Ronald Acuna, who's one of the best players in Major League Baseball, and he's on a 10-year, $120 million contract. He's only making $12 million a year.
Underpaid.
He is underpaid.
How about that?
But he took the security.
Well, it's what Pippen did back in the day with the Bulls. And I'm going to get locked in for 7 years. Then the market completely changes, and he spent 6 years being disgruntled and underpaid.
Coming up later on the show, we're going to talk some baseball with Stephen Davis, the voice of the Arkansas Travelers. He'll come in the studio at 10:30. They have a big weekend. They got a lot of fireworks popping off there in North Little Rock. The team's playing very well. They're the first half champions. So I want to get Stephen on here to talk about the weekend plans. And if you're not going anywhere for the 4th, maybe you can take advantage of some of the fireworks being shot off at Dickey Stevens Park. Tom Murphy at 11:10. A lot of Razorback news to get to with him. We'll catch up with Tom right after the Red White Report. Matthew Postins at at 11:30, Matthew covers the Texas Rangers. And last night, the Texas Rangers had 4 players selected to start in the All-Star game. It is the most players of any team in Major League Baseball. And it's just a remarkable turnaround for a team that's been really bad for a while. They went out and spent a lot of money in free agency 2 years ago.
Mhm.
They struggled last year, and some of those free agents struggled. This year, the free agents are playing great, and they got a new manager and Bruce Bochy, and he's turned this team around. They're winning.
They got new air conditioning in their stadium,
New air
so,
conditioning.
so they're not all dying out there in the heat.
But they got a dome.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's not hot. Some of the hottest baseball experiences I've ever had in my life were watching the Texas Rangers in Arlington.
No doubt, no doubt about it.
Brutal.
And there were so many years that they tried to say maybe it's an excuse, but they would talk about the Rangers faltering in the second half, and they blamed it on the playing in the heat. And
I
it
think
just
there was
drained the
something. I
body.
think there was something to that. You're out there playing 81 games, most of them in just oppressive heat. Yeah, it would affect you.
But then when they had good teams, they
Didn't
won.
bother them as much.
No,
Yeah.
So
So
I mean,
great players can overcome the heat.
maybe so.
There
but
you go.
At least they don't have to worry about that, and it's
No
not
doubt.
a built-in excuse anymore. But Matthew Poston's at 11:30. I know we have a lot of Cardinals fans around here, but there are some Rangers fans. They hit me up on Twitter, and look, this is noteworthy just because they do have the most All-Stars in Major League Baseball.
Also, if you're a Cardinals fan, you don't have too much to talk about right now.
Yeah, Cardinals
beat-
fans need to lay low for a while.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll make a comeback in the second half.
How
got
bad
beat-
did it get yesterday?
14-0.
14.
Astros.
Yeah.
Mm.
How many Astros are starting?
I'm not sure. I didn't see that actually.
I didn't either. I just saw the notes that the Rangers had 4. Also, Philip Martin. So 12-ish, he'll be back in here to talk about some of the movies that are coming out this weekend. It's a very good movie weekend with Indiana Jones.
Yep.
I would like to talk with Philip when he comes in about Asteroid City.
Yes.
I saw it the other day.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
I don't know. It was like a typical Wes
It was a Wes
Anderson
Anderson
thing. I
movie,
walked
okay.
out of there thinking, what did I just see? It was interesting. It was quirky. There were several humorous moments in it, but man, that's an odd cat.
I have to ask you about the brief nudity with Scarlett Johansson. How brief is it?
Well, it was pretty brief, but I still remember what you're talking about, if that's what you mean. Thank you, Wes. I was a little taken aback. I'm like, well, no nothing's going to happen because she was, getting out of a shower. She had a robe on and all this stuff. And she's over there talking to Jason Schwartzman, and he's taking pictures of her. He's a photographer and the whole thing. And then all of a sudden, boom. And I don't know, 1.5 seconds, something like that. But
Seems
yeah.
a little unnecessary, to be honest.
Let's put it this way. 1, it was unnecessary. 2, if she had been picked up by the police and she had to be in a lineup, most people could identify her rather instantly. So there's that, if that helps.
I think some people would argue it's unnecessary.
Yeah.
Well, Joe Franklin wouldn't. Joe, I was on the show with Joe on Monday, and he was just going off about the Jennifer Lawrence movie. Joe's a big
no
fan.
hard feelings.
Joe's a big fan of that sort of thing, as a
Right.
as a bachelor man, a single man, all that kind of thing. So yeah.
What was he going off on it about?
Well, Jennifer Lawrence was in that movie, and it wasn't very brief.
I didn't know that.
Well, now you know, so don't run out and see it. But
I did kind of want to see it. It looked kind of funny.
well, he liked it, but Joe goes to Twin Peaks a lot too, so
The series Succession. It's on HBO Max. There's 4 seasons of it, and my wife and I we're late to the party, but we're now on season 2, and it's something we're watching every night. I like it a lot.
What do you think about old Kieran Culkin? He
He
brings it, doesn't he? The young guy,
the young guy,
the young son.
oh the screw up.
Yeah, isn't that who he is?
I didn't know that's who that was.
Yeah, it's Macaulay's
Macaulay Culkin's brother.
Oh, he's awesome. He's a
Dude,
great actor.
He's brilliant.
He is.
I keep telling everybody the best thing I've ever seen him in, and he's good in everything, was a movie years ago, probably 10, 12 years ago, called Igby Goes Down. He's young in that. He's playing like a high school kid, steals the movie. And I mean, you've got Ryan Phillippe, Claire Danes, Jeff Goldblum, Susan Sarandon, Bill Pullman. I mean, it's an all-star cast, and this guy blows the field away. Igby Goes Down. You guys watch it.
Okay.
You got 2 daughters in high school or, high school-ish. they would love it because he's fascinating in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll check it out. Yeah, I think it's a great cast. It's the family. It's very well written, and the family's just messed up. on Succession.
Brian Cox is
Oh, he's
just brutal.
awesome.
Man, he's so good.
He
in
is.
and everything.
So
He is.
powerful.
He is.
I mean, he is the patriarch of the family, and he plays it so well.
I read his autobiography last year, and he narrates it on Audible. Oh, it was just a blast.
Yeah, he's got a great voice.
He really does.
And I've seen him on Twitter. There's some ad he's on in Twitter, and it's every time, there are more and more ads showing up on my Twitter feed, but
Right.
he's in that one, and every time, and it's like, how they know I'm watching Succession. That's why they're putting him in my ad.
Dude, the government's tracking your every move. They know what you're going to do at the lake this week. They know you're going to Florida. They're going to follow that trip to California. They're on you, son. You know it.
And also, he's the voice of the McDonald's commercials as well.
That almost makes me want to eat at McDonald's. Keyword here is almost.
Almost.
Yeah.
Over on the text line, I got one from Chachi. He's got a reminder for
Joni
everyone.
loves Chachi.
It's important to understand you need electrolytes and salt in the heat, like body armor or Pedialyte Sport.
Mhm.
Water by itself isn't sufficient.
Well, you remember what they said on Idiocracy about Brondo? It's got electrolytes. He said, "Do you know what electrolytes are?" No, but Brondo's got it. That's what he said.
I have started after we had the Little Rock wrestling coach up, and he told us the story that they all drink salt water in the mornings.
I've heard people doing that lately.
I've started doing it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's doing anything for me, but
Well,
every morning I
it
get
supposed to be the
replenishes
benefits of
your
it.
salts, but man, if you drink enough of it, that's
Feel a
hard to
little
choke
sick,
down.
yeah.
Yeah, you feel sick.
I'm only doing about 8 ounces,
Okay,
6 to 8
okay.
ounces.
Like
Now-
3 gulps or something.
yeah,
Like,
maybe 4.
Yeah.
And I went online
Well, hey,
and saw
you
what to
choke
do.
down
and-
beet juice forever. If you can drink
True.
that, you can drink this.
Yeah,
So yeah.
basically about the same thing, 6 to 8 ounces
Gotcha.
for the beet juice. But no, I'll just get up. That's the first thing I do now every morning. I got the salt right there in a cup, and I just pour that little bitty what is it? I think it's a quarter of a teaspoon in there. It's
Back
a very
in the-
small
back in
amount,
the
and then
day-
just 6 to 8 ounces of water and knock it
When
back.
folks would come out at the start of football practice, end of summer, early fall, they'd have you take salt tablets.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that's probably kind of similar to that.
It's crazy how we've gone. We went from I remember as a young kid, I'd go up to my dad's work. He was worked for the electric company, and they would have salt tablets next to the water fountain.
There you go.
And they just, the linemen would take them and drink some salt or drink some water with it. And then it became a period of time. You didn't do salt. That wasn't good
Right,
for you.
right.
You stayed away from salt.
Exactly.
You didn't want to do that. And now it's like we're coming back and realizing, no,
Are
we
you
do
old
need a
enough to
salt.
remember back in the day, you come out for football practice and they wouldn't give you water?
Oh, yeah. No.
No water.
No.
See, we were the Mandeville Spartans. I still remember the coach. He said, "A Spartan is undaunted by pain. He has no need for comfort or luxury." And I'm like, okay, I'll sign on to that, but I would like some water. It's kind of hot out here. And he's like, "No, there's no water, Monan. You'll be tougher for not having water." And I'm like, and nobody knew, they were dehydrating dudes back then. But,
We were doing something remarkable because of the no water. We would load up on water before practice because we knew there was no water coming, and we'd drink. So we were hydrating our bodies the night after practice and the day before practice because we knew what was coming.
you're enough of a golfer. You've played in those awful, oppressive conditions enough. You go out there 4 hours, 18 holes, and if you're out there 4 hours and you never go to the bathroom
Yeah.
one time, you've got problems. And that happens sometimes when the
Oh.
heat index is 115, 120.
No, we were at Chenal Monday, and I loaded up on water all during the show
Mhm.
because I knew what it was going to be like. And then out on the course, I was hydrating myself with different things, but I would always take time to drink some water also. But I went a long time before I had to make a pit stop.
You're sweating it out.
Yeah,
That's it.
it was.
Evaporation.
But
Mm.
I loved it, and somebody, oh man, you picked a bad week to play 2 rounds of golf, and I'm like, no, I didn't. I'm not complaining. I'm playing golf. Yes, it's hot, but I'm not working in it like all these other people.
Did you sweat
I'm
through
playing golf.
Did you sweat through a few gloves? Change gloves?
I
a
don't
couple
wear
times?
gloves.
Oh, you don't wear gloves?
I never wear golf gloves.
Good for you.
Yeah.
All right.
I just I've always been a field player,
Yeah.
and I've tried it, because people are like, your hands, your grip, it's got to be slipping. And I'm like, first of all, I'm not a big sweater,
Yeah.
and so it's not like my hands getting soaking wet.
You
I mean,
take
I
a
got
towel or something
and
like
so
that. You can towel off.
I'm
the
just
same
dry them
way.
off, but
Yeah.
I do not. And then taking it on, putting it on, doing
Which
all
is
this.
a pain because
It
I
is.
wouldn't putt with them. So
No.
that's all. You're taking the thing on and off 100 times in a round.
So
Yeah.
I don't do it.
That makes
I've
sense.
Never done that. Doesn't bother me at all. And I've even tried. Thought, well, maybe it'll help my game to wear a glove. No, it doesn't. It didn't help me. So I'm like, I'm not dealing with this.
Nice.
Here's one from the 501. Liquid 4 is the best to add to bottled water. Oh, Liquid IV.
Oh, Liquid IV.
Hey, we had an RJ moment there.
Oh, Liquid IV.
Now, what was I listened to Bubba
Thanks, Graham.
and Phil doing a Razorback game a while back, and Bubba was feeding Phil this thing called honey stinger something.
Those were beet chews.
That's what that is.
Beet juice. Yeah, it's the
Oh.
beet juice that we drink, except for now it's in a
They're like a chewable form.
Yeah, something
Yeah,
like
Phil
gummy
was,
bears
Phil
or
was
something.
chewing it and trying to do the game. It reminded me of the morning show. But it was kind of funny.
Or
Yeah.
do they taste like beet juice?
I don't know. I haven't had
Okay.
Well,
one.
it said it tastes like honey. Honey was the operative word, so maybe the honey overpowers
Powers
the
the beets.
beets. I would hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have not tried one, but I remember hearing them when Arkansas was playing TCU in the second game, the last game of the season. And you remember when Borfin hit a home run, then Wagner hit a home
They
ron.
said we got to keep eating
That
these.
was the inning. They
That's
started
when
it
That's
that
when I
inning.
heard it. Same
Yeah.
thing. If we're chewing these and we're hitting home runs, we must. Baseball people are massively superstitious, so
Oh,
we must continue to chew them to hit more home runs.
oh
So,
no. My friends at Simmons Bank at their suite up there, they have rally gum. And it works. I mean, the rally gum works when when
nice.
things aren't looking good. They start handing out the rally gum throughout the suite, and everybody's chewing some rally gum, and it's worked on more
I'd
than one
rather do
occasion.
that than turn my hat inside out. That certainly makes more sense than that.
The text line gives us this from the 870. Our coaches gave us water one time through a 3-hour summer practice. One water break.
I don't think we got any when I was in junior high. They just didn't give us any. They said it would toughen you up, which I never really understood that.
I
then.
do. I think I remember one water. It was like one water break, guys, and it was like a water hose, basically. No, seriously, they would run it
yeah,
from the
yeah.
field house, and you had like a big old long water hose, and everybody would take turns lapping it up.
Well,
We had-
if Bobby Boucher did anything for America, it was to show the importance of hydration on
Right.
the football
The
field.
water boy. Yeah.
That's right.
We had a water hose and it would connect to like a stand thing, and there was PVC pipe. and
Yeah,
they
I've
poke
seen
holes
those.
and they just
Yeah,
come out and-
shoot out water.
Yeah.
I think they
Yeah.
do that for cattle, Christian, and feedlots. So you
Well.
should feel honored.
So take one call before we hit the break. Bobby Joe, what's going on, Bobby Joe?
Oh, beet juice. Beet juice.
Yeah, hey, I was gonna tell you, Pigskin, I may visit your church here pretty quick. I'm about to get kicked out of mine, but I'll be the one with a coffee cup, but it won't have coffee in it. It'll have my beet juice. But listen, I'm outside all the time spraying these yards. Yesterday, I got a little bit hot. I peed in this lady's backyard. It was crystal clear white. It looked like water. Now, is that normal?
That
I
shows
think
that
that's
you're
how it's
drinking a
supposed to
lot of
be.
water.
You
Yeah.
keep drinking that water and you be careful, son. We can't lose you. We got to have you
Yeah,
on
but
that line.
It had a tin of red from the beet juice in it, but it was unbelievable. But if I come to your church, I want to meet you, man. I hear a lot of good things about you.
Come on
Wes,
over,
I
my
just-
brother. We'd love to have you. Love to have
I've
you.
been waiting to take Wes the Grumpy Rabbit, man. I don't. Wes won't come. I don't know if he's scared. All them years I woke up looking at his wife on Channel 7. I think he's jealous of me.
I'm scared of you, Bobby Joe. I saw a great little clip on Twitter the other day, and I thought of you. It was a guy who was in church, and his cell phone went off, and everybody just stared at him and laughed at him, and basically pointed him out, and then after, what are you doing? What are you thinking? And chastised him, and made him feel unwelcome. He went straight to the bar and had a drink, spilled his drink, and the waitress came over and was like, I'll help you clean it up. It's no big deal. And the bartender, I'm going to give you another drink for it. And the people came over and checked on him. Are you okay? Because the glass broke. Did it cut you? And it was just like, we got to be more accepting as a church than take example from the bar and what happened.
Do you mind if I steal that and use it in this Sunday sermon?
No, I think it's awesome.
That's pretty good.
No, it was.
I'm going to use that.
I think you could use something about the heat outside, and you don't want that for eternal life. Also,
Oh.
Listen, you guys writing my sermon. That's awesome.
We'll take a break. When we come back, Stephen Davis from the Arkansas Travelers will join us. You're in the zone. Before Out on a big trip, whether it's July 4th or a summer vacation later on, make sure you have a good set of tires. You don't want to get out there and have a blowout or get in a storm and start hydroplaning. It's dangerous for you and everybody else out on the road. Go to Big O Tires. 2 locations, and they got a great selection of tires, all the name brand tires, plus they have the Big O tire, and right now they have $100 off a select set of tires. They also do maintenance. They'll work on your vehicle. If there's something wrong, check engine light is popping on and off, go by Big O Tires. Let them check it out. They'll get you back out on the road, get you set for that long trip. It's Big O Tires, Cabot. It's Prospect Court, right in front of Kroger, Conway. It's on Harkrider. Big O Tires.
I saw a sign in Alabama that Big O Tires needs to incorporate. It simply said this: death rides on bad tires. They should use that. You're welcome.
It's an attention getter.
Death rides on bad tires. Go to Big O Tires and get some good tires. There you go.
Great for a billboard because it gets your attention.
That's what I said.
You know,
Yeah.
Maybe I can be a little bit more subtle.
I
On
saw
the radio.
the sign and I immediately went out and got 4 new tires.
Okay.
So some of us are easily suggestible.
go.
Plus one of them was flat, so I had to do something. So.
Stephen Davis, the voice of the Arkansas Travelers, joins us now. Great to see you.
Good to see
Are
you.
you by the studio? Do you live nearby?
Kind of close. I was out running errands too.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And you're like, hey, you want to come on? I was like, sure. Why don't I just swing by? You're never in studio though.
No.
You guys are always out and about this time of
Monday,
year.
Tuesday, we were out. We were here yesterday.
Yeah, we were here through yesterday. That was it.
I was out Wednesday. We were out Wednesday. Monday,
Yeah.
Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah. So
I feel like it's about a 50-50 proposition at best that you guys will be here.
yeah, we're
It's
more
usually like 75.
60, 40,
yeah.
75, 25. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, morning show,
No, they're out all the time.
Well,
80-20.
Yes. Like 4 out of 5, I would say here recently, they've been gone. Travelers are playing really well.
Travs are playing well. Not last night.
Yeah.
Lost a lead late, but
Can't-
it's
you can't
baseball.
win
You
'em
can't win 'em
all.
all. We're trying to though.
So 6 out of 7 is not bad.
6 out of 7 over a 2-day break. So it was a long stretch without a loss in there. And you kind of forget in baseball that as we just talked about, you can't win them all. You do occasionally lose a game. Things don't always go your way, but 6 straight wins, 5 in a row to close the first half, closed out a first half championship in there. Yeah, the boys were playing really well and playing at a high level in all facets, really.
That's what we talked about the last time you came on here, the importance of winning a championship and playing for a championship. They want,
Right.
the Mariners want their guys feeling that different type of pressure. I got to say they passed that first test in Double-A.
They did. And it's not just playing for a championship, it's playing in meaningful games. That's the first step. You want that. They were in the race, they were playing in meaningful games. It just happened to work out where, the way the standings fell over the last 3 weeks of the first half, from where it was with 3 weeks to go to where it ended up, the Travs made up 7 games in the standings.
Wow.
They were 3 games back with 18 to go with 3 weeks left. Ended up winning the division by 4 games over Tulsa. So it's not all the Travs. Tulsa did not play their best baseball in there, but the Travs were playing meaningful games. The bigger the game, it seemed like the better they played. So there is something to that. Now you're in the playoffs. You won't have the same team you have now for the playoffs when we get to the end of the season in mid-September. But, the nucleus of this group, most of this group will probably still be here at that point in some form or another. So it's exciting for those guys to know they'll have a chance to play for a ring, have a chance to celebrate again. Had a nice celebration in Wichita when they won the first half title last week. But it is important, and they did get it done. All good stuff there for the Travs.
Is there any advantage to winning the second half title too?
No, other than you build some momentum, probably. There's always been the argument of, do you, for the folks that work in minor league baseball, do you want to reward the first half champ or the second half champ more? It goes back and forth. Second half champ, you feel like, that's your team going into the playoffs. You're playing well. That's your group. So you want to win the second half championship for that. First half champion actually gets quote unquote home field advantage now in the first playoff series. They don't start at home, but they host games 2 and if needed 3 in the best of 3 series. I can argue either way is home field advantage. I'd sometimes rather start at home for the first game. Sometimes you'd rather have more home games potentially, but you just want to be playing well when you get to the end. And you can do that as the first half champ, but no real advantage if you win it. You don't get to skip around or anything like that.
That would be nice.
It would be nice, but let's go out and play games. That's why we're here. Play games, get guys experience.
So who would the Travs play if they won the second half?
It will be the team with the next best record in the second half.
Huh.
So whoever finishes second.
Well, the team that finished first or second in the first half has got to be felt a little left out.
Yes.
Tough luck.
It used to be
So
next best
sorry.
overall record. Now
Yes.
it's next best second half record.
Okay.
So it's changed.
Yeah.
It goes back and forth, but that's what we got right now from MLB. So those are the rules. We'll go with them.
Who won the first half on the in the South?
San Antonio claimed the first half title. They have the third best record in the league and won the South Division title.
San Antonio. Is that where Cops is?
It is.
How is he?
He's having a good year. He struggled a bit last year, having a good year this year. It'll be interesting to see. San Antonio did not come here to Dickie Stevens last year, so Cops did not get the chance to pitch here in Little Rock. They come beginning of August, the first full week in August. San Antonio's here. It'll be interesting to see if he's still with them. I think he's a guy because of, as we've talked about before, his age, his pedigree. That's a guy that when he puts it together could move quickly. I'll be intrigued to see if he's in AAA, maybe the big leagues by the time the beginning of August rolls around when you get through the trade deadline. That'll be the first week right after the trade deadline. Or is he still with San Antonio when they come to play the Travs here at the beginning of August?
Any imminent moves for the Travs?
No, nothing imminent. It's kind of funny. I was talking with somebody the other day. You get to the middle of the season, you feel like, especially for those of us that have been around minor league baseball for a few years, this is when the moves would always happen. You'd have the new guys coming in now. You'd have the guys leaving that have played well in the first half, but the draft is later now. The draft used to be beginning of June. There aren't new guys coming into the organization now. So the draft's not till next Sunday, I believe, is the first couple rounds. Next Sunday through Tuesday is the draft. So you've got really another 3 weeks or so till the new guys are into the organization where they've got more guys, and you start to see that push through from the bottom, and some guys will get promoted. So nothing imminent, but hopefully some guys have earned some promotions, because we've had some guys with the Travs play well that haven't gotten to move yet. Obviously, wild circumstances. We've had 4 guys go straight to the big leagues this year from AA, but hopefully some guys earn some bumps, if not to the big leagues, at least to AAA here soon.
We've heard Dave Van Horn for years complain about the draft and the timing of the draft, and he basically has given up. I mean, earlier this week he had his press conference. He's like, I'm tired of talking about it. Yeah, it's at the wrong time. It should have already happened, and he just kind of summarized his long time argument of let's move this and change.
When
this.
should the draft be?
I think college wants it earlier, right before the College World Series begins, and they almost had it right. They did have it right, and COVID hit. It was going to be the Thursday before the College World Series started on Friday. And that way, these players, there's a gap there.
Right.
They find out where they're going. It's off their mind. Now they can play baseball. They used to do it while the super regionals were going on.
The guy being the on deck circle. Hey, you just got drafted.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. So they that's what they were going to do. And then COVID hit, screwed everything up. Owners got involved, said, let's make it during All-Star Week and have it a big part. Yes.
Yeah.
So college coaches hate it because
but they didn't like it being in early June either.
No.
And
because of what we said, the players are playing.
Right around the College World Series would be a great time to do it. Bring more attention to that. There's only 8 teams still playing anyway. Most of those guys are ready to go out. The tricky part is with MLB, they want a signing deadline. So they don't want those guys sitting around. And do the
coaches.
It used to be almost a full calendar year before you'd find out if a guy was going to sign. They'd wait forever for some of those guys. Then they cut it to, I believe it was like end of August. Now it's almost like less than a month from when they're drafted. It's like 3 weeks. So it goes quick, but I don't know. There's not a great time for it whenever. It's just the way baseball works because the schedules are off between amateur baseball and pro baseball.
Mm-hmm. And two, I would think, and you can give me the minor league perspective on this, don't they want to get the players drafted and get them into camp this year? I mean, by pushing it back to July, and I know we're only talking about 2 weeks if they move it up to the Omaha and the College World Series. But to me, I would think the quicker the better, because these guys, their season has been done and now they're just sitting around, and then you're going to get them back and go play some baseball.
You're exactly right. Some of the college guys, might go out and play in a summer league for a few weeks to stay sharp. Probably not pitchers, but hitters. And that's the other thing. There's 2 distinguished groups of players here, and the high school guys have been shut down even longer. Who knows what they're doing? And I've talked to a lot of folks about this, and obviously every organization, Major League Baseball, all 30 of them run things differently, but especially from the pitching side, I know this for the Mariners, what they did last year, all the pitchers they took, whether it was a college guy or a high school guy, they didn't send them back out to pitch for a pro affiliate last year. They said, hey, you've been shut down too long. We'll get you in our system. We'll have you throw a little bit, but we're not going to have you throw any competitive innings. It'll be interesting to see if they continue that. Be interesting to see if other organizations take that tact as well. Now with hitters, it was different. It was, if you've been playing great, we can get you back out here in the next few days. But the high level guys usually have shut it down because they don't want to risk an injury. So those guys have to get ramped back up. They might go out and get a few at bats just to get some experience in pro ball, but the timing just doesn't fit again real well. And this is where I go back to there's not a great time for the draft. And I think it's ongoing discussion still of when is the best time to do it, to draw some attention to it, because with the hockey draft was earlier this week. That's become a little bit of a spectacle. Major League Baseball's draft is never going to be the NFL or even the NBA, but it needs to have some more attention brought to it. It's a significant event. I know guys still go through the minor leagues, but guys move quicker through the minors than ever before. And the first one I believe that was on TV was when Mike Trout got drafted. And he was, I want to say, the only player who was there at the MLB Network studios in New Jersey that night. And I'm like, who's this guy? And then, of course, we all knew him a year later when he's here with the Travs. And 2 years later, he's in the big leagues, starring every day for the Angels. There's not a great fit to put it, to draw some attention to the draft, to make it a big deal, but still make it work for the guys who are coming in and for all parties involved. So I do think that'll be an evolving process over the next few years still.
I just think with college baseball ratings are going up and the popularity is going up. They could play off of that and make it and it probably won't ever be the spectacle of the NFL draft or even the NBA draft, but play off of those ratings and strike while the iron is hot. And when college baseball is hot, and that's right after the super regionals, right before Omaha, those supers usually end on Monday at the latest. Every once in a while there's a rain out and it's a Tuesday. But if you had the draft like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Wednesday, Thursday, I guess it's only 2 days now.
3 days.
3 days. So you could do
it over 3.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Omaha starts on Friday. I mean, that to me would be a great time to, when college baseball can draw in some other
as you
viewers.
said, MLB was going to do that a few years ago, and then COVID wiped it out. They also had the Major League game, a regular season game played in Omaha.
That's right.
The Royals
I forgot about
and
that.
Tigers, they played a game there. So there was an effort from MLB to create some more exposure for Omaha and for college baseball.
Seems like Arkansas was there that year.
I believe they were.
I think our guys
to look up the
went by to the game. I can't remember. We got Stephen Davis with us, voice of the Travelers. If you don't recognize the voice, the Travelers are home this weekend, and we got a lot of fireworks.
If you don't recognize the voice, flip over to Buzz 2 every night about 6:30 or 7 o'clock.
When are the what's the schedule for the fireworks this weekend?
So we've got fireworks tonight, Sunday, and Monday. No fireworks tomorrow. Kids get to run the bases after the game tomorrow. That's a different kind of fireworks. But we've got 7:05 start tonight, fireworks after 7:05 start tomorrow. Tomorrow's also a hat giveaway. I know a lot of folks like the interlocking LR logo that we've brought back in style this year.
That is a sweet hat.
Giveaway tomorrow. First
Great
1,000
hat.
fans, interlocking LR
Well,
logo.
get over there and get your LR hat.
There we go.
That hat rules.
Yeah. So 7:05 tomorrow for that. Gates open about 6 o'clock. Sunday, 6:35 game, fireworks after. Monday, July 3rd, 6 o'clock game, fireworks after. So we've got you covered for fireworks. And then the ballpark is open on July 4th as well for folks who want to watch the fireworks and not have to fight for a seat. We've got several thousand seats
That's awesome.
available and
Smart.
the best view of the fireworks.
Will Odie be running around in that possum uniform? And that
Tuesday night?
So
that'd be kind of hot in that possum suit right now.
possums like heat. That's what I've
Okay,
heard.
well, make sure he hydrates because
Yes.
possums need to hydrate too.
Do we know if
Give him some Gatorade.
yeah, we got to get Odie some hydration, some salt, right?
Yes, a little bit of
Give him
salt.
some of Wes's salt water. That would help.
Are the fireworks sponsored, or y'all just do it
Which ones?
tonight?
Yeah, we have sponsors.
Oh, Saturday. So I asked because my wife's cousin pitched in Pensacola. They did fireworks every night after games, but it was
Every
every night after a home game.
It's
And
a lot of fireworks.
it is.
Well, they got the U.S. government down there, the naval stations. They're probably just giving them some ordnance. to blow up.
Somebody stepped up and these games would be televised. Their games were televised too. I thought that was crazy. When we were down in Destin, we could watch their games. But anyway, we went to in every home game. They had fireworks, but it was sponsored by some big business down there.
Full fireworks show.
Full
every night.
fireworks show. How incredible is that?
That's pretty incredible. I don't know if most teams could pull that off, but
No.
yeah, we do a fair share of fireworks shows here every Friday.
Well, it feels like it this weekend. Almost
Yeah,
every
3 out of 4,
night.
and we've thrown in a couple extras. We had a Saturday earlier this year, and you go 3 out of 4 on a 4th of July weekend. I feel like you're doing pretty well.
No doubt about it. We got Stephen Davis with us. How's Isaiah Campbell done this week?
Isaiah Campbell's doing really well. He threw an inning the other night to close out a ball game. Unfortunately, as it's gone for him this year, and for the nerds like me who like stats, he didn't get a save again because they scored in the previous inning to make the lead bigger than 3. But He's already warm and ready. He's going to pitch that inning anyway, no matter what the score is. So he was ready to go. He comes in, pitches great. But he's only got 4 saves because of that. He does have 6 wins out of the bullpen this year. And I think he'd be the first to tell you that 2 of those came when he blew a save and got lucky that the boys bailed him out. But he's pitched really well overall. He continues to get better. He's working in a new pitch. He's working in a little bit of a cutter to go along with the slider, just to give him another little weapon in there to mix in with the straight fastball as well. Command is still excellent, almost too good at times. But when he gets the final plan of how to mix all these weapons right, he's going to be really lethal.
Is he still wearing the glasses?
Yes, of course.
You should market him as Wild Thing.
But he's not wild.
I know, but you're talking about a lifestyle
Control
motif,
thing.
not a control thing. No, Wild Thing. Fire the first pitch into the mascot's head. Nobody's digging in against you.
I think the best thing about Wild Thing from the movie Major League was his off-field personality fit that too.
It was hair and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Isaiah Campbell is the most
Reserved.
down-to-earth, calm guy you could meet.
You're focusing on the wrong part.
He's completely not
It's
Wild
it's the
Thing.
glasses, though. He rocks those glasses. He looks
does need
great in
He
them.
does need a sponsorship. to go out
Yeah,
of
that's it.
If,
He could get like somebody to sponsor him for a Wild Thing segment.
if he was back
Heaven
in
knows
college,
this show could use some help. He could come on this show and help Acree Monday.
He could be lens crafters.
I'll break
Exactly.
the story.
See, that's
Isaiah,
thinking. Right there.
Isaiah Campbell will be here Monday in studio.
There
with-
you go.
with
Wild
Justin
Thing.
Acree.
I'll tell Acree. Of course, if it's not Acree's idea, he's probably not going to listen to it, as these guys could attest.
We
But,
could make Acree think it's his idea somehow, right?
that's what you have to do.
Can we do that?
Subliminal messaging.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll let you do that.
I
Chris.
like that. Work on it, Christian.
You're the master of that with Justin.
What
Acree.
what time is that?
10? We haven't set a time yet for Monday.
Oh, okay.
We're picking a time.
There you go.
Well,
Listen
I'm going
the
to be.
entire
I'm going to
3
be
hours.
listening to hear the Wild Thing.
Probably looking at either 10:30 or
Mild
12:30 on
thing.
Monday for Isaiah
Mild thing.
Campbell.
Mild thing.
There we go.
You make my heart sing.
I
like
hate
it.
that song.
Yesterday or last night, the Major League Baseball starters were announced.
Yes, your Rangers.
How about that?
How many times did you vote?
None.
None?
None. I did not, but I was proud, and they went out and spent some money a couple of years ago and got them a shortstop and the second baseman, and now they're playing
Finally
like
kept them
all
healthy.
stars. Yeah, and they're healthy, and now they're in the All-Star game. But you look at it, the Rangers have a starting catcher, starting third baseman as a rookie, and then the starting shortstop and starting second baseman. It's pretty good.
It's really cool, and it's cool how they did it because they came 3 different ways. Obviously, we mentioned the 2 free agents, Seager and Semien. Jonah Heim, they got in a trade. By the way, both.
What trade was that? Do you remember?
I don't know who it was for, but here's the thing. Both all-star starting catchers, Jonah Heim and Sean Murphy from the Braves, former Midland Rockhounds,
Wow.
both came up in the A's system. And now look where
The
the A's
A's.
are after trading those guys away. Anyway,
Mm.
I just find that odd. So they played here at Dickey Stevens Park against the Travs. And then the fourth guy, the third baseman, Josh Young, drafted and developed by
Yeah.
the Rangers. So there's all the varieties of ways to get guys there.
And he was here. He came through Frisco.
Yep, came through Frisco
How
quickly.
many of the did you count? How many of the All-Stars played here?
So we did it on air last night. Kyle Deckelbaum and I went through the starters, and we just named them all. As he'd name a name, I'd say who was a former Texas leaguer, and I want to say it was close to half. And that's fairly impressive considering that they aren't all staying with the affiliates they came up with.
Yeah.
Obviously, one former Trav and Mike Trout in there. But it's pretty impressive, the guys that have come through the Texas League. I wrote an article for the Travs program a few years ago of what would you, if you were making a major league team out of just former Texas leaguers, what would it look like?
Mhm.
Pretty darn good team.
When do All-Star reserves come out? You know that?
I believe it's this weekend.
Okay.
And then the starting pitcher will get
Yeah.
named usually a day or two before the game based off who's available and who's earned it. And
It's another made-for-TV event this weekend.
Really?
Yep, I was reading the
Okay.
article. I don't remember what day it was or when, but
it's, in the past, it's been like ESPN right around the Sunday night game. We'll get to announce the reserves. It used to be Fox or somebody would get to announce the starters, but instead, I think they did MLB Network last night. But good for those guys. Cool to see it out there, and congratulations to all the All-Star starters.
we got to go. Thank you for stopping by.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Fireworks this weekend, Friday, Sunday, Monday.
Yes, sir.
LR hat. Come get your hat.
I think he's asking for somebody in his congregation to go to the game, get him a hat, and bring it to church Sunday.
I might need to get one of those hats.
There you go. Travs.com/tickets.
Thank you. We'll wrap it up. Hour number 1's in the books. Stick around. You're in the zone. Deal Team 6 is back at Guatney Chevrolet, and they've got some great deals right now, some rebates, financing options for you. For example, $2,000 off in stock 2023 Equinox. You can get $7,500 off Silverados in stock when you trade in a 2009 vehicle or newer. Plus, you can get 5.9% financing for 72 months on those Silverados when you finance through GM and you're a well-qualified buyer. Got a great group of cars and trucks and SUVs right now. Go check out all the inventory at GuatneyChevrolet.com. You can see all the deals that they have right now at GuatneyChevrolet.com. Then you can head to the Gregory Street exit in Jacksonville and make a deal. Remember, they're going to pay top dollar for the vehicle you're driving right now. They're looking for quality cars, trucks, SUVs. You'll be able to pay off your note, have a little extra cash, put it down for a new payment. Go make a deal. July 4th deal at Guatney Chevrolet.
Also, I saw today is National Corvette Day, or Drive Your Corvette to Work Day. So if you need a Corvette, you can go to.
I hope my dad's listening. He can drive his Corvette to the job that he doesn't have anymore since he's retired. Hey, we got some breaking news here. We got the breaking news music to make it sound more official. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, exactly. The Supreme Court
Oh, no.
strikes down Biden's debt forgiveness plan in a 6-3 decision. The court's conservative majority rejected President Biden's plan to cancel more than $400 billion in student loan debt for millions of borrowers. It would have been one of the most expensive executive actions in U.S. history.
Kind of figured this was coming.
So those of you that owe some money on student debt, you still owe it.
Darn.
I thought that might impact some of our people. So there you go.
Graham, you just ruined her day.
Sorry.
Yeah. I wonder what they'll do if everybody's just like, you know what?
We're not going to pay it.
We're not paying it.
Well, that's what we're doing to China and Saudi Arabia that we owe all the money to. It's like, hey,
If
so what?
everybody
We're
just-
not paying.
Yeah, if everybody just decided, he's like, we're not paying.
Well,
They wouldn't do anything.
I think that's kind of what they're doing right now. A lot of them aren't paying. Some of them are. But,
It's been on hold since COVID. I
yeah.
think.
I said this: if they were going to forgive all the debt, I was going to go talk to Biden next week and say, look, I want the money back I paid for my 2 kids to get them through college. You think he would have been sympathetic?
No.
That's what I think.
We got to come up with the zone question of the day. Yesterday, we asked if you would watch the match with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson taking on Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. I did not watch.
I didn't either.
Did you watch Pigskin?
I didn't even know it was on.
Well, 78% of the people said no. 22% said yes. So if you were part of the 22% that watched, I'd like to hear from you. Was it any good?
I saw some highlights.
If I had
and
known,
stuff,
I might have
but
watched, but I was driving back from Alabama.
Our second question of the day: who comes to mind first when you hear the words Wheel of Fortune?
Pat Sajak.
Not Vanna White.
No.
Well,
All she does is turn the letters. Anybody can do that.
54% said Vanna White. First person that
brother.
comes to mind. Pat Sajak got 46%.
Well,
We asked that because he's getting paid a lot more than she was,
Oh,
and
that's-
she wants a raise with him leaving.
That seems discriminatory because she's certainly a lot better looking than he is.
Tom Murphy.
The Red White Report is brought to you by Big O Tires, with locations in Conway on Harkrider and in Cabot on Prospect Court. Big O Tires offers an endless selection of wheel and tire combinations. Big O Tires, they have everything you need to fit your budget and style.
Great news for our guy, Hagen Smith. He is an All-American again, this time by D1 Baseball, second-team All-America. There are 7 All-America lists. Hagen made all 7, either first team, second team, or third team. Congratulations to him. And it was announced yesterday he made the collegiate national team roster for Team USA. So he and Brady Tigert went. Hagen made the cut. I guess Brady's on his way back to Fayetteville. I heard Van Horn earlier this week say he's going to rest, rehab, get his arm in tip-top shape so that he'll be ready to go next year. Also, some news on the Red White Report. Yesterday, you can go to ArkansasRazorbacks.com. They released some more pictures of what the Big Red rooftop bar is going to look like at Donald W. Reynolds Razorback Stadium in the fall of 2023. Looks really cool. Head over to ArkansasRazorbacks.com to take a look at that. And one other note, the Razorbacks have hired a new hitting coach for softball, DJ Gasso. Coach Deifold made that announcement earlier this morning. And Gasso was with the Utah Utes as their hitting coach.
The 2 Utes.
The Utes coming to Fayetteville now. That's a look at your Red White Report. All right, while he's getting Tom Murphy, let me read this. This is a text from Stat in Conway.
Okay.
It's for Pigskin. Got a quick question for Pigskin. Being a preacher, do you abide by Matthew 7:1 and 7:2? On Monday, you judged everyone at LSU and all their fans as cheaters. Have you had your crow after Monday night?
No, I haven't had my crow. They're cheaters. The football team just vacated years of wins for cheating. The basketball team fired their coach for cheating, and he has a 2-year show cause. So, yes, they are cheaters. And as far as Matthew 7, it says, for with the standard which you judge others, you will be judged. I'm not out cheating and breaking the rules like LSU football and basketball. And tell me what factually I said that was wrong. They're cheaters.
Give me some context. You were rooting against LSU?
Yeah, I was rooting against them. I don't root for LSU at anything. If LSU squared off in baseball next year against the University of Moscow and Vladimir Putin's son was pitching, I would root for the Moscow Reds over the LSU Tigers. Is that good enough? Stats in Conway? Yeah, I don't root for LSU at anything. And Justin Moore would back me up on this.
What about LSU Ohio State?
I would root for the stadium to open up and swallow both teams whole.
Great question, Christian. Let's go to the Brandon Moving and Storage Hotline and bring in Tom Murphy on that note. Tom, welcome in. How are you?
Y'all are cracking me up to start this segment, so we're in a good spot, man. Thanks, Brady.
Were you? We had 2 press conferences earlier this week. One from Musselman, one from Van Horn. Did you cover either one?
Well, actually, I was driving back from Springfield, Illinois, and came in right in on the Ryan Mallett news on Tuesday. But I did read the transcription of what Dave Van Horn said, and so I don't know. I'm vaguely aware of what happened.
Yeah, it was nothing huge out of it. It's always good to, especially during this kind of dead sports time, that the university makes these guys available to us. It gives us a little content for the week, and I think Van Horn, to me, Tom, signing these transfers, it's almost like a contingency plan in case you don't get some of these freshmen to come to campus next week, that they're not going to get caught without a catcher, shortstop, second base, or a center fielder. They're going to be prepared just in case, it sounds like.
Well, yeah, I mean, absolutely you need to do that. And if the freshmen arrive, then you there's going to be some guys who miss out on some playing time, or who think they are started. I mean, Harold Cole is a great example from last year, in that he probably felt like he might get more playing time than he did, and Caleb Cowley came on at third base, and John Bolton was a strong shortstop option for them defensively. There were times where Harold Cole had his chances to take over, and he hit a little bit, but wasn't there all the way defensively. I mean, so I say all that to say there's going to be competition at some spots
And when it came down to it, when there were injuries for Arkansas, they were able to fill in. They were able to put Diggs in the outfield. They were able to add Grimes and Neville in left field when they were down 2 outfielders, and they were able to bring McLaughlin in and play, and they had enough depth to kind of survive it. In fact, they actually thrived during those times. And so if you can build your depth this way and have some hungry guys on the bench, it helps your team.
Tom Murphy with us from the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, WholeHogSports.com. And also it appeared to me that Dave Van Horn wants Arkansas to be a better player when it comes to maybe NIL money for some of these transfers after watching what LSU was able to do.
Yeah, I would say that he feels like they're in a solid position, but what I think he described it as it's just crazy out there. And I think some of the latest rulings that you've had from the government that this is not tax deductible and all, it's gonna morph the plan. So what happened is, it seems to me, college sports dove head first into the NIL pool, and then the rules and regulations kind of came later. And I don't know how this is all going to be, adjudicated basically in the long run, because things have already happened. And I don't know. I guess they're going to try to put some stipulations and things like that on it. But I don't know. We talked about this, when it first got going, that we were entering the Wild West, and there's kind of no going back. And it seems to me like they're trying to go back, but maybe how do you enforce it all? So I think the next couple of 3 years are going to be, we're going to see all kind of different strategies and adoptions of some rules to try to make things more uniform. And I don't know where it's all going to lead.
Tom Murphy with us. Tom, what's your favorite? We did a lot of reflecting this week. What was your favorite Ryan Mallett play?
Well, I've watched a lot of the highlights, as I'm sure a lot of you guys have. The Kobe Hamilton touchdown, it was a good pass, but I mean, the two guys colliding and Jarius Wright blocking downfield were kind of made that. So that's not so much a Mallett play. It's just the aggressive nature of what the offense was with Ryan Mallett. It's like the Greg Childs touchdown against Florida. Great catch. He eludes the nearest defender, and he gets in the free. And then Jarius Wright is blocking all the way down inside the 10-yard line to make sure he makes it into the end zone. So I don't know. There was a great synergy between all those young receivers and Mallett. The perfection with which he did the play action against Georgia, the touchdown to Chris Gregg, in which there wasn't a defender within probably 15 or 20 yards. So it was just so well executed. That one stands out. The crossing route to Jarius Wright, the first play against Alabama, and then the wheel route to Wingo, the 2-play touchdown drive to open that game, where I think is right, where people have claimed that was the loudest Reynolds Razorback Stadium has ever been. It was an unbelievable atmosphere. And unfortunately, they didn't carry it out through the whole game. But I don't know. All those plays stand out in my mind. So I don't know. Like, if he dropped in a touchdown pass, I will say this: the touchdown pass against Georgia, where Greg Childs laid out on the edge of the end zone, and it was a great catch. But he just put that in such a beautiful positioning. That's probably one of his better throws because it was a deep pass. So, but there's a ton to pick from, right?
Tom, my first impression of the kid when he signed in high school with Michigan, my brother, my son, and my son's friend got in the family truckster, went to Texarkana to watch one of his games. And it was Texas High playing Atlanta, Texas. And they were just really overmatched. But we got there for the beginning of the pregame of the warm-up. That's the nicest high school grass field I've ever seen in my life. Golf greens aren't this nice, but he's out there standing at the 50-yard line. They got about a dozen receivers standing to the far right, and they're all running to the end zone, right down the right sideline. And Mallett is throwing ball after ball after ball to these kids. And when I tell you, with a flick of the wrist, he threw the ball as effortlessly for 50 yards as anybody I've ever seen in my life. To this day, I've been watching football for 50 years now. I have never seen in person a more powerful arm than that kid had. It was just remarkable.
Yeah, and I think there was a part of Ryan Mallett that there was a certain cocksure nature about Ryan Mallett that I think he kind of liked. I think he's 6'7", so he's already standing out. Then he's got this huge arm, and I do think he likes to, quote, show it off.
Mm-hmm.
I also think I think he also learned touch along the way, and Quinn Grovey spoke about that at the induction, the state sports writers and broadcasters induction ceremony the other day. He talked to Bob, and he spoke about how Ryan had to learn that. It's not all about the power of your arm all the time. We saw him on, just short routes to backs and things like that, blow people's hands out. But I think he learned it. And, his nature, he's just such a jubilant guy. And I heard Bobby Petrino on the Buzz on Wednesday talking to the guys about the kind of guy Ryan Mallett was, and that it was his courage, and he helped make the team tougher. And you don't think of Ryan Mallett being, really that tough. I mean, he's a tall guy, but he was tough, and he did help, bring that nature to the team. And part of the reason why they were successful in 2009 and 2010 was that he was just such a leading figure, and the offense was it was just a beautiful mesh. Wish we could have seen him stick around, but Tyler Wilson had a massive year in 2011. But one of my favorite Ryan Mallett stories is that as a student, one day he walked into a class and he did not have. There was a sheet called a Scantron that you used to take tests. And he's like, anybody got a Scantron for Ryan Mallett? And to me, that summarizes Ryan Mallett.
I heard the guys on the Buzz a couple of years ago ask him, did that actually happen? He said no. And I'm thinking, I bet it did. That sounds exactly like something he would have done. Who's got a Scantron for Ryan Mallett?
It's been told too much for it to
It's got to be, hey, listen, when there's a fact and a legend, print the legend, right?
I got it from someone in the class that it did happen.
I think it did happen too. I would put money on that. He was a character, Tom. He, like you said, he was a gunslinger, outside arm, outside personality, and just far, far too young at 35. He will be missed, no doubt.
I'm glad we're still talking about him because he was a colorful guy. The times that I talked to Ryan when it wasn't an interview situation were some of the funniest. Like he'd come up for a camp or he'd just be out there and we'd talk. One day he goes, hey man, and he got out a business card and gave it to me. He was starting up Mallett's Lawn Care Service, and that might not have been the exact name, but he was starting a mowing service. And I took his card and I'm like, dang, I'll probably call these guys if I need some lawn service. And so I remember writing a big feature on him at the Liberty Bowl. After the Liberty Bowl, and going down and talking to his parents, Jim and Debbie, in the stands. And if y'all remember, that Liberty Bowl was freezing.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not want to stay in those stands very long, but it was important for me to talk to them. And I ended up writing a big story on Ryan later. But he's one of, in my 15 years covering this team, Darren McFadden was probably the best football player, and he might be the best in Arkansas football history. You can make the argument he's the best, but in terms of like colorful characters, Mallett is got to be way high.
Yes,
up
sir.
on that list.
Your article after he passed the other day was fantastic, by the way. I meant to tell you that. I read that and I thought Tom captured his essence, his life pretty well.
Yeah, and I also think, I saw where the sheriff of Okaloosa County said it was not riptide, but it's still dangerous waters, and I think that just should serve as a reminder to everyone. And when you have the Peyton Hillis situation and then Ryan, anybody from our area or from the Midwest, the Southwest, that goes to the Florida Gulf, you just got to be really careful about how far you get out in the water and what the tide situation looks like. So I don't know.
And Tom, like Wes pointed out today, he said with the oppressive heat out there and the warnings, his good friend Mitch Petrus that we lost way too soon from the same thing. You got to be careful. And if folks are telling you there's danger, you got to listen to that and take precautions.
Yeah, you absolutely do. And Wes was Wes was right there at the forefront of the Mitch Petrus deal. I talked to Wes for the story I wrote on him. Tremendous character, Mitch Petrus was as well. Unbelievable guy.
Got Tom Murphy with us on the Brandon Moving and Storage Hotline. Tom, you've been writing a series of stories for the Arkansas Democrat Gazette featuring freshmen, sophomores, top 3-year players coming back. I want to ask you about the freshmen. Who do you think is a guy that maybe didn't make much of a contribution last year that they're going to need this year?
Okay, so that would be redshirt freshman Isaiah Satania, who was my number one freshman, would be at the very top of that list. I think Ty Washington has a chance to be in the tight end rotation along with Luke Haas, and some of the guys coming in, Gums, and there's another guy, and then there's Nathan Back. So they really kind of reloaded at tight end. Those two guys stand out. Jalen Braxton was one of their top-rated freshman signees, and he's in the 2 deep at cornerback. Now I don't know how it's all going to lay out when all the guys get, when Al Walcott's available. Well, he's probably a safe. But Jaheim Singletary, the Georgia transfer, is he more of a corner? Will they try him at nickel? I don't know. But I think Jalen Braxton has a chance, at least before his career is over, to be a standout cornerback in the SEC. And, there's some other freshmen as well, but those are the guys who come to mind first.
This is an old team, and then they hit the portal again for depth. Tom, there have been years where you felt like Arkansas had some really good players in the with the ones, but it was the backups, and then the injuries would happen, or a guy would have to play hurt. We saw that last year with Bumper Pool. Is this team deeper than in years past?
Well, guys, I think it has a chance to be because even after spring ball was over, and they added a bunch of guys. Trajan Jeffcoat, Antonio Greer, the linebacker. There was a bunch of guys. Snacks Johnson at cornerback, Walcott, who was hurt, and on and on. There was a bunch. John Morgan, the receivers. But after that, they had 8 scholarships or 9 still available, and they landed a bunch of other guys. The tight ends. There's a defensive back they landed, and there's another linebacker, the kid from Cincinnati, Jaheim Thomas. So when camp starts, there's going to be like another extended battle for playing time because you got to think a kid like Thomas can make the 2 deep.
Yeah.
So, I think they have a chance to have some real depth. And then you got guys like Jordan Crook, who has great promise, who, when you think about Pupal and then Greer and then Thomas, and Jordan Crook's going to be pushing for playing time. I mean, he's one of those aggressive kids that you see a great future on. So, there's going to be really interesting dynamics that happen in the secondary, in particular, for playing time when camp opens up.
I was doing a radio show out of Memphis, and the guy that does he's a Razorback guy and fan, and we were going over the depth in the secondary and the linebackers for once, and the defensive line, and then you got the quarterback, KJ and Rocket, great 1-2 punch right there, and they're like, what is this team missing? What worries you? And to me, it was, I don't know if they have that wide receiver, that number one guy, that explosive playmaker that you need out there. Would that be at the top of your list? What worries you, or what is you think is something they're missing on this team?
Good question. I would put that in my top 2. I would, because I liked what I saw from Andrew Armstrong and Isaac Tesla as spring rolled on. I think when they got the playbook down, you started seeing those guys making more plays. And I have tentative confidence that those guys are going to make it on the SEC level. But you still want they talked really well about Jadon Wilson over winter, and then he broke his leg and he wasn't available in spring. Well, does he come back to some type of form? Will Bryce Stevens make a jump? Certainly he's going to be pushed by Isaiah Satania in the slot. So I think you're going to see a similar type receiving core where Hazelwood led the team in reception. He was the slot. Well, does that mean that Stevens and Satania might be the 2 top guys? They could be. But, the Matt Landers role, a deep receiving threat, well, Andrew Armstrong and Tesla have a chance to do that. Tesla made some great catches. But my other position, I would say receiver and then D tackle. And so they added a guy like Booker. They added some other guys on the D line. And I think between Eric Gregory, and then two guys who have been injured, Torian Carter and Cam Ball, and Cam Ball's was just a high ankle. But between those three, Booker, you got to find another one or two guys that can play tackle for you, because I think they like their depth at DN. And so if they develop a decent 4-man or 5-man rotation at tackle, then they could be in good shape. Now, what does that mean? That means that the games that they lost by 2 points or won by a few points last year, that they're in those games, and they got to make plays in the fourth quarter, and they got to make plays when they're in the red zone, when they have goal to go like they didn't last year, and they have a chance to win 8, 9, 10 games again.
Tom, thank you, sir. Great stuff as always. Have a awesome and safe July 4th holiday weekend, and we'll catch up with you next Friday.
Yeah, I chatterboxed on y'all a little bit. But
No,
man, I enjoyed it.
no.
Thanks for the talk.
Always. That's why we have a good
great
long
weekend,
segment
everyone.
with you, Tom. We know that. It's no problem. Tom
Good
Murphy.
deal, good deal. Hey, great weekend, everyone.
Thank you. Coming up next, Matthew Postins will join us. We're going to talk a little bit about the Texas Rangers. 4 All-Stars for this team, and they're playing good baseball. Stick around. You're in the zone. Back in the zone. Glad you're with us. We're going to talk a little Major League Baseball. The starting All-Stars were announced last night. The Texas Rangers have 4 starters. Matthew Postins covers the Rangers. You can follow him on Twitter at Postins Postcard. He's now with us on the Brandon Moving and Storage Hotline. Matthew, how are you?
Hey, I'm good, Wes. How are you?
Oh, I'm outstanding. And as a Rangers fan, someone who grew up in East Texas and have gone through the ups and the downs and lots of downs recently, this has been a fun year, and it was pretty cool last night to see 4 guys make the starting roster. This team's playing well right now, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. I think it's after 81 games, we're actually right at the midpoint of the season. They're tied for the 3rd best record in franchise history. They got a 5-game lead on the Astros, and they got the Astros coming to town actually Friday through Monday. So there's an opportunity there for them to, maybe extend that lead a little bit if they can win 3 out of 4. But I think at the very least for them, they want to hold serve against an Astros team that's been kind of up and down this season, but they've got Altuve back. Sounds like Alvarez and Urquidy are close to coming back, hopefully after the All-Star break. So the race is not near over, but the Rangers have really put together a nice run of baseball here in the first half without a lot of real, hiccups. They had the injury to Seager for a month. Obviously, they lost DeGrom earlier this month, and they haven't missed much of a beat throughout these first 81 games.
Let's look at the 4 starters in the All-Star game. In your opinion, are they all deserving to be starters?
Yeah, I do. I think Seager, it's amazing. Seager came back from the injury, and it's like he was never hurt, the way he's been hitting for the last month. I think when you look at his average, if he qualified right now, which doesn't have the at-bats to qualify, I think he'd have the 2nd or 3rd best average in the American League right now. So he's deserving, even though he missed a month of the season. I think Semien is a potential dark horse MVP candidate the way he's played. The team's run differential when he gets on base is 3 runs more than when he doesn't get on base. That tells you how important he is in the leadoff spot. Himes had a great offensive year. He's having the kind of jump year that Nathaniel Lowe had last year at first base. Everybody raves about what he does behind the plate. And then Josh Young, objectively speaking, right now, he's the best all-around third baseman in the American League. His numbers offensively are stellar. And, as somebody who's covered, most of their home games this year, his defense has come along to the point where he makes the difficult plays look very routine. And that's a difficult thing for a rookie to do.
Was there anyone that was snubbed? I hate to, they got 4, so not complaining, but was there anybody else that was deserving?
Well, Garcia was out there as one of the top 6 outfielders. I think he ended up finishing 5th in voting. He's one of the top home run hitters in the American League. He just got hot again. He's at 20 home runs now, 3rd straight year with 20 or more home runs. He's one of the best defensive outfielders in baseball. I think he has more outfield assists than any outfielder in baseball the last 3 years. He's certainly deserving of it. Nathaniel Lowe's got really good offensive numbers. He didn't make it to the finals of voting, but he could potentially get selected. I think Garcia will end up getting there because Aaron Judge is hurt, so he won't be able to play. So that's going to leave a couple of positions open in the outfield. I think Garcia could be a guy you'll hear his name maybe called on Sunday as a reserve. But the way this team's playing right now, even Ezekiel Duran, Leody Taveras, if they were playing on other teams, they might get more mention when it comes to the All-Star team.
What about pitchers? Who do you think will get their name called Sunday?
I think you'll definitely hear Nathan Eovaldi's name on Sunday. He's pitched incredible for them all year. I think he may be the only pitcher you hear from the Rangers, although Dane Dunning's made a really interesting case over the last 2 months pitching in Jacob deGrom's place in the rotation. He's 7-1. He's got a sub-3 ERA because he now has the innings to qualify. He has the 4th best ERA in the American League. He's just had an incredible season taking that spot in the rotation. He wasn't healthy for most of last year. I think they kind of undersold the hip injury that he had surgery on at the end of last year. Now that he's healthy, now that he's got a little more command of his pitches and can fire through with his body, he's been incredibly dominant the last 2 months.
Talking with Matthew Postins, he covers the Texas Rangers. He's on the Brandon Moving and Storage Hotline. What has Bruce Bochy meant to this team?
Consistency. And just buy-in, from the very beginning. When you have a guy who walks in and has 3 World Series rings as a manager, and the Rangers had never hired a World Championship manager before, right off the bat, you get credibility. And a lot of the players have talked about just the message he had for them the first day of spring training really just resonated with them as a team. But, when you look at last year's team, their batting order would change from day to day. Garcia would hit 3rd one day. He would hit 5th the next day. He would hit 4th the following day. Bochy was really clear. He wanted a consistent batting order, at least in the first 6 spots every day. And he's been able to do that. And he was even able to do that when Seager got hurt for a month. He cycled different guys in that had qualities at the number 2 spot, Jankowski, Duran, Smith, just that consistency every day, so that when he does make a slight adjustment like he made on the road trip last week where he flipped Lowe and Young in the order for a couple of days just to break up the left-handed hitters, the players are like, okay, I trust you. You've built up that confidence, you've built up that credibility, and you accept that move in the lineup for a couple of days, just to see if it works. And it did work for them while they were in Chicago when they made that adjustment. So it's just the steadiness, his leadership, the consistency he brings every day, and just everybody bought it so fast when they brought him in, and it's easy to see why.
How has this team done what they've done so far?
Well, for one thing, obviously they've hit the ball incredibly well. Most runs scored of any team, best runs per game average in baseball, but they've been incredibly good with runners in scoring position. I think their average is still the best in baseball, even though they've had a bit of a downturn the past 2-3 weeks. So it's not just that they're getting hits; they're getting timely hits. They're avoiding empty outs. Whereas if you have a runner on base, you're doing something with them. Like the other night when they played Detroit, they had a couple runners on base. Jonah Heim grounded into a ground out at second base, but the only play was the first, so 2 runners advanced. And then Robbie Grossman brought one of them home for the sacrifice fly. So even though they got 2 outs, they got a run out of it. So they avoid those empty outs. The pitching has been much better from a starting pitching standpoint by bringing in Eovaldi, Andrew Heaney, even Jacob deGrom for the short amount of time he was able to pitch. It's really given them a chance every day to have somebody up on the mound that can give them a chance to win. Bullpen's been a little spotty, a little up and down, but Will Smith is turning out to be one of their best signings of the offseason. Bochy has talked about how he just was kind of stunned that Will Smith was still out there in February when they were looking for additional relief help. He was a guy who closed for him in San Francisco, so he was familiar with him. They got him into the closer role in mid to late April, and he's got, I think, 14 saves now. They haven't had a lot of opportunities for saves just because either they've had games where they've been up by a lot, or they've had games when they've kind of been down by 3 or 4 runs. So the save opportunities are likely to come in the second half of the season, and Smith looks up to the task.
What do you think they do as the trade deadline approaches?
I think they're going to be aggressive. I think you're definitely going to see them go look for top shelf bullpen help. They have, I think, 3 or 4 guys that I think can make it to the end of the season and be consistent. Josh Scoors has been a real bright spot for them from a bullpen standpoint. It's funny, when they moved Gunning into the rotation in May, which was the right call, it really kind of discombobulated their bullpen for a few weeks. And they kind of had to figure some things out. They don't really have a true long guy right now. I think they might go look for somebody that can fill that role. But I think they're going to look for a couple of high leverage relievers that can work and set up roles in the 7th and 8th innings. I think they could go after a bat. This batting order is loaded. But they're cycling different guys through the designated hitter spot, Grossman, Garver. That's where they put Heim for a day when they need to give him a break behind the plate. They could go after a veteran bat that could give them a little bit more production from that spot and maybe play a position in the field. But I think they're going to be aggressive, especially with their bullpen. And if they can find a value starting pitcher that could help them and serve as a long reliever, but also as a spot starter, they might go in that direction too. But I think they sense that they have a team that's constructed that can be competitive in October and maybe do something special. I think they're going to be aggressive enough to try and give them everything they need to make that happen.
Matthew, it was great to catch up with you. It's been a while since I talked to you, but thank you for your time. And it was good to talk a little Rangers baseball here in Little Rock.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. You guys have a great day.
Matthew Postins on the Brandon Moving and Storage Hotline. You can follow him on Postins Postcard on Twitter. Here's a cool story. The Diamondbacks are calling up outfielder Dominic Fletcher. He is the 14th ranked prospect in the Major League Baseball pipeline. Here's what's cool about it. His brother, David Fletcher, he'll be
He
playing
played,
against him
yeah,
this weekend. The two Fletcher brothers, one a former Razorback, will be seeing his brother. He was called up earlier, and I didn't
Yeah.
realize he was sent down because he was productive and had some good moments.
Batted 308 in 78 at bats, 2 home runs, 13 RBIs.
Wow.
Pretty good.
Very good. Well, he's
So
going
brother
back.
against brother.
Yeah.
This harkens back to the Civil War days when families were divided. One guy would fight for the Union, one would fight for the Confederacy. So,
I don't think it's going to come to life or death.
so
but-
they're not going to shoot
No,
anybody,
no,
but
they're
just
just- yeah,
baseball.
yeah.
But anyway,
No.
they're on opposing sides.
Yes, they will be.
Okay.
Yes. All
Gotcha.
right. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk a little college football. Brian Edwards, VegasInsider.com, will join us. He's got some lines, some things that he's kind of looking at. So
I
maybe
want to
some-
hear what he has to say
Yes.
about the Ohio State losing again.
We'll let you ask him about that.
I
Stick
will.
around. You're in the zone. Welcome back to the zone. Westmore, Christian Weaver. We got the Pigskin Preacher. Philip Martin just stepped in. Loaded studio. Glad you're with us. We're going to move to the Brandon Moving and Storage Hotline right now and bring in Brian Edwards from Vegas Insider. You can also follow him, BrianEdwardsSports.com. Brian, what's up, man? How are you?
What's going on, Wes? How we doing?
Oh, it's awesome. It's Friday. We got a 4-day weekend coming up. Heading to the lake. It's going to be awesome. It's Christian's birthday's coming up, so everybody's happy around here.
Good stuff. Got football right around the corner.
I know it, and I love it because I'm starting to see some lines. I'm starting to see some bets, and so I thought, man, we need to get Brian on here and talk a little bit. Arkansas season total, is it out at least at some places? What is it, 6.5?
So FanDuel's got it at 6.5. If you like the over, it's a -122 price, and if you like the under, it's even money. But DraftKings has it at 7, and if you like the over, it's +125. Risk 100 to win 125. There's also a matchup prop at DraftKings, just comparing regular season wins between Miami and Arkansas, and Miami is the small -125 favorite. Arkansas is a -105 price. Just whoever wins the most regular season games, and obviously it'll be a push, no play if they win the same amount.
That's a unique bet. I saw that, and I'm like, I don't know anything about Miami. I don't know how to feel about Miami, but I feel good about Arkansas, and I love the over bet. We were looking at the schedule yesterday and talking with some of the guests, and I think Arkansas's got a really good chance to start 3-0, and they have just a very tough 4-game gauntlet where they're on the road, except for, it's a road game at Arlington, but a neutral site game. But then they come back and they got 5, to me, winnable games to finish the season. I think, if they do what they're supposed to do, that's 8 wins right there. And maybe they pick off an A&M or upset a team that on the road. And I think that they could get to 9 wins.
Yeah, I like the over for Arkansas. Should start 3-0. I think you'll be favored in your last 3 games. You got a great shot at winning at Florida with 2 weeks to prepare, and it'll be a natural letdown spot for the Gators coming off the Georgia game. But, man, Arkansas really gets hosed having to get on an airplane 4 Fridays in a row for that gauntlet you mentioned at LSU, A&M in Arlington, at Ole Miss, at Bama. And then, after all that, you come home. And look, I'm picking Mississippi State last in the SEC West, but last in the SEC West doesn't mean you're a complete scrub of a team. I mean, Mississippi State gets 2 weeks to prepare, and Arkansas is playing its 8th game in 8 days. But other than the first 3 and the last 3, I still think Arkansas wins that game against Mississippi State, although, situationally it's a good spot, if you will, for Mississippi State. And I think, Arkansas can win at Florida, and they can win in Arlington. Certainly had no business losing in Arlington last year, the 13-point swing on the fumble, and then, Cam Little's field goal that, I'd never seen a field goal hit the very top of the upright. And then I read the next day that, NFL goalposts are 5 feet higher. So if that game was at any college stadium, that field goal would have been good. So it's just a few games of the year lines I'll throw out at you, Wes. Arkansas is +13.5 at LSU, a 3-point underdog to A&M, an 18-point underdog at Bama.
I'm surprised. The only one that surprises me really is the A&M line.
Yeah, I could see that. In my mind, that's probably a pick'em game. I got lucky on that one last year. I got Arkansas early. That was my favorite play that weekend. I got 2.5, so I was fortunate on that game. But they should have won that game outright, no doubt.
Brian Edwards with us on the Brandon Moving and Storage Hotline. Any other season totals that you like in the SEC?
Yeah, I'm on over 9.5 for LSU, and I'm on over 7.5 for Ole Miss. Ole Miss got 20 transfers, 8 4-star guys. They rank 5th in the country per 24/7 Sports in terms of transfer-specific recruits. And look, they got a deep quarterback room. We'll see who wins that job. I mean, I think Spencer Sanders will win that job if his shoulder is right. Had the shoulder issues last year. But like Arkansas, they did a good job of loading up in the portal on the defensive side of the ball. Got an excellent linebacker from Louisville and Monty Montgomery. But, I love how Pittman got a ton of veteran, guys out of the portal guys that have played a lot of football. I mean, Jeff Code at Missouri, 29 career starts. Walcott, 20 career starts at Baylor. John Morgan, 14 career sacks at Pitt. Kiwi Rose, 32 career starts at La Tech. And probably the best of the transfer guys is Antonio Greer with 27 starts, 238 tackles at USF. What I want to ask you, if you don't mind, Wes, I want to know about these receivers, the two D2 guys and the Tyrone Broden kid, the 4-star at Bowling Green. How did they look in the spring?
Well, we just had Tom Murphy on from the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, and he covered the Razorbacks all during the spring. And he mentioned Armstrong and Tesla as the two transfers that towards the end of spring, when they started getting comfortable, they look like the guys that out of the transfers that would make an impact on this team. Of course, they got a couple of younger receivers in the slot. One of them, a speedster from Fayetteville, Isaiah Satania, that we just saw small little snippets from last year. But as far as the transfers, that Tesla and Armstrong were the ones that he pointed out. Now, you know how it is with some of these transfers. Some of them, it takes a little bit longer to feel comfortable, to learn the playbook, to figure out what you're supposed to do in the offense. So I'm not going to count out anyone just yet, because lots happening right now in the summer, and doing some individual work. And then now they even get to work a little bit as a team in the summer. So I wouldn't count out anyone as of now. I think the thing is they got the numbers, and out of those numbers, it's who's going to separate themselves.
They're listed 6'4", so big target, and I'll be interested to see. The two top recruits were tight ends, and then you got the North Texas transfer, who was first team All Conference USA. So on paper, it looks like that Pittman has really retooled the roster with some talent, and like I mentioned, a lot of veteran talent on the defensive side of the ball.
Got Brian Edwards with us, VegasInsider.com. Also, you can go to his website, BrianEdwardsSports.com. Any games that first week you already have your eye on?
Yeah, I'm on LSU. I got it. Actually, I got a little bit of money line -130, and I got most of my money at -2. LSU going to Orlando in week 1 to face FSU. Now, most books have it at 3, but there's still 1, 2.5 at DraftKings. And so I'm on the Tigers in that game. And like I mentioned, I'm on over 9.5. And I even made a small play on them to win it all at 16-1, which you can find at DraftKings right now. I love Jalen Daniels, 17-3 TDI&T ratio last year, led them in rushing, 11 rushing touchdowns. And look, I think they got 2 QBs that can play. Nussmeier has looked good when he's got a chance, especially in the second half of the Georgia game. And I just think Harold Perkins is an absolute superstar, and he's going to have a monster first-team All-American type season. And you guys, saw that last year. And another thing on Arkansas, 4 losses by 9 combined points. It was really close to being a good season. And if KJ plays in the LSU game, y'all probably win that game. So that was your best defensive effort of the season.
Before we let you go, you got any Bryce Mitchell news?
No, but you and I texted. I will say that the only blemish on Bryce's resume is aging really well, because the guy that beat him, Ilya Saporia, I was in Jacksonville this past weekend. He was in the main event, and he absolutely dominated Josh Emmett, who had just fought for the interim featherweight title. And I sent you the pictures. He left Emmett a bloody mess. And Emmett is one tough dude. So the lone blemish on Bryce's resume is aging quite well, and look forward to seeing him get back in the octagon whenever I know he was having a health issue a couple months back and had to withdraw from his last fight. But not a big stain on his resume. That one's aging quite well.
Brian, thank you for your time. Have a great holiday weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
Y'all as well. Thanks, Wes.
Brian Edwards, VegasInsider.com. When we come back, hour number 3, we got Philip Martin in here. Reed Llewellyn's going to stop by, talk about the Great Arkansas Beer Festival. Details on that, birthdays, entertainment. You're in the zone. Hour number 3, big hour. We're going to finish it off with a bang with the Acre Free Zone. Pigskin Preachers here. Philip Martin with some entertainment, some birthdays. We got Champs and Chumps. We have the Zone Rewind, and we're talking about the Great Arkansas Beer Festival. Reed Llewellyn is in here with us, and that's right around the corner, July 22nd.
That's right.
So what is that, about 3 weeks? And we're there. We're ready to go.
Yep, I guess we're at the 4-week anniversary really this Saturday. So staring down the barrel on it, and pretty excited. This is about when we get in with you guys and start talking about all the awesome breweries and the different restaurants and everyone that participates. And so excited to do that. Always excited to partner with you guys, and just super pumped to do it again.
All right, for those that have never been, what's it like? What's going on?
Sure. So I kind of refer to it as a buffet of beer, if you will, right? So we've got about 140 breweries from across the country that are going to send anywhere from 1, to 3 or 4 different products in. Okay. And so, what we like to say is if you can purchase this beer either in a restaurant or on a shelf in Arkansas, you're going to be able to taste it here at the festival, which is pretty darn cool. And, for me, and I've told you guys this, I think, a million times, it's hot like this. We go to the lake. I'm going to drink something light, something I can have several of. But when I'm in the store picking things out, I'm like, gosh, I'd like to try this one. I'd like to try that one. But I'm not trying to spend $200 on different 6-packs. So you can go in there and say, oh, man, I'm into wheat beers, for instance. Say you like that. Everybody's all in these IPAs and the hazy IPAs and all this stuff is phenomenal. It's very hoppy and it's great. I just like a nice, balanced, drinkable beer. So you go in and you see, okay, well, there's a sunset weed and there's a citrus weed and there's this and there's that. And I'm like, honestly, I know it grows, somewhere in Kansas. That's about all I know about wheat. So to go in and sample these things, say, all right, this is one that I'm definitely going to put in my repertoire. Next time I go, to my favorite store, I'm going to grab it. So it's a good sort of chance for some R&D, which I think is great. And then, what we've done along with that is also the Rock City Margarita Festival. And that was one that we kind of put them all together last year, and similar concept, right? So it's a buffet, but we've got, this is our largest year ever, 35 restaurants from around Central Arkansas, restaurants, and then different brands that are going to make their take on a margarita. And we've got a handful of our restaurants that make just this phenomenal classic lime, really good margarita, and they're going to be there, and I can drink them, right? Because that's the signature. But then we've got these others that they may not have this classic margarita featured on the menu, and Don and the crew at Dizzy's come to mind. They're going to put together a jalapeno honeydew melon margarita, right? And there's all these super fun, like there's a prickly pear margarita that the folks over at Sauce are working on, and the list goes on. And I don't want to give everything away, but it's a great way to come out and kind of interact with our local bars and restaurants, get to know them a little better, and then try something obscure and unique that may only be a seasonal menu item.
Your advice for this, do you bounce back and forth between beer and mart just to get a different flavor in your mouth when you're taste testing?
I think so. For me, I don't drink a ton of tequila, but if I do, I'd like it in a mixed drink, I'd like it in a cocktail, like a margarita. And so you go through and so we have a tasting glass, it's a 4-ounce cup, and you'll get that when you walk in the door, and then you can go around, you visit all these booths, and they're going to pour you, 1.5 to 2 ounce pours. So, a couple of drinks, you can taste it and then move on to the next. And I think you're exactly right. Like for a guy like me, I'm going to try to keep things balanced. I want something fresh, maybe a little flavorful, and then we'll pop over here. And like I said, try one of these IPAs or something else. And I think because of that, it kind of keeps the 3 hours goes by quick, right? Like you're sort of bouncing back and forth, and everyone is really just in this just good mindset. The crowd's kind of moving around in a big circle. Like I always equate it to, you've seen the big tuna herds, right? And they swarm, or not tuna. What's the other I'm thinking of? The sardines, right? And they're swarming all this stuff, right? So it's that, but it's everybody got their little beer cup, and it's a big smile on their face. And so yeah, I do bounce back and forth. You've got others though, kind of like I was saying, they might target, what? I'm only here for the margaritas. That's my bag. So that's what I'm here for. And that's great. And then of course, all the seltzers and the Cutwater Creeks and these canned cocktails and some of the, ancillary products that also fit really well in here are also on display,
How do you get tickets? How much are they?
Absolutely. So tickets are still just $40. The prices are going to go up in July. Go to the Buzz website, Facebook page, or you can find us also Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, the Great Arkansas Beer Festival or the Rock City Margarita Festival. We do a good job of plastering that ticket link just about everywhere you see a post.
It's July 22nd. What are the hours?
Yeah.
And where?
Yeah, State House Convention Center, right? So downstairs in the big governor's halls, lots of space to spread out and kind of do that. Also, yeah, it's July 22nd. If it's 104 degrees today, I suppose it's reasonable. It'll be 110 then.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll turn the air conditioner down to 65, and And that's something that we've done every year. You know, our very first festival was the last Saturday in July. And we said, look, by this point in the summer, a lot of folks have completed their summer vacations. The lakes turned into a little bit of bath water. You know, it's a lot of these things have now just gotten a little bit too hot. So it's fun to sort of bring it in. And then, of course, we let you loose right as the sun's going down. There in the river market, you know, go find you something to eat, right? Get a room at the Marriott or wherever it needs to be. Make an evening out of it. You know, it's a good setup.
If you're like me and you can't plan in the future, can you walk up and get tickets at the door?
Absolutely. So barring a sellout, and every time I say this, it almost feels a little salesy, but this is going to be one of the first years that a sellout is I would say imminent. Now, whether it happens before the day of or at some point during the day of, I think that there is an expectation on our team that these tickets will sell out. The incremental jumps that we've had the last couple of years post-COVID are kind of spelling that story. So can you buy them walking up? Yes. Right now you could walk up and buy one, but that could change in a couple of weeks too. So just, you know, kind of stay in tune with it.
Awesome. Thank you for coming by.
Always. Love
It's
you
going to
guys.
be a lot of fun. The July 22nd, that's how big it is. We got it on our board.
I like it.
We talk about it all the time. Great Arkansas Beer Festival, July 22nd. Big thanks to Oakline, Tito's, and Mosquito Joe
Yep.
for
And
being a part.
Hornitos Tequila, want to plug those guys as well. They bring a truck of the stuff in for everybody, and so big fans of them. Oh, last but not least, right? Ronald McDonald House Charities of Arkansas. So
There you go.
this is a huge party. It is a ton of fun. That is what it's built at. It's a party. It's come out and have fun and see people and try all these things. But you know, it's an honor for us to be able to do what we do for them. I think last year, our check that we wrote them, they said it was 1,500 nights for families. So 1,500
Oh, wow.
families, you know, nights, you know, there in the house. And again, it's an honor for us to be able to just help them. They're a phenomenal group, and we're blessed.
Glad we didn't forget about that.
Right.
That's the best part. Reed, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Take care. Have a great weekend.
Today's entertainment report is brought to you by Bell and Sword Gentlemen's Clothing in Conway. Check them out on Facebook and Instagram, or stop by Bell and Sword at 1016 Oak Street in Conway.
You've heard him throughout the last hour or last 30 minutes, but Philip Martin is in the studio. Glad to have you, Philip. It's a big weekend, isn't it?
Right,
yeah, it's on now.
Okay.
We'll let you talk now. This is big. This is you know, you've been on here before, and you basically told us you don't have to. You know, you're not going to miss anything if you
Right.
don't go. This is a good one to go and go see a movie this weekend.
This is, you know, Indy is back after, the first one came out 42 years ago.
Good
Oh my
grief.
gosh!
Yeah, 42
Wow,
years
now
ago.
I feel old.
Yeah,
I was one when it came out.
Yeah, exactly. I think I reviewed it. So.
Negative 15 when it came out.
Thanks, Christian.
But you know, and so it really it's sort of interesting. You start thinking about, so how old was Indy when he started 42 years ago?
He was
Well,
old then.
Yeah,
40.
he was had to be in his mid 30s, wouldn't you think?
Late 30s.
So that would
Mhm.
make him. But I think in this movie he's about 65 because he's hitting retirement age.
So
at
he's
the-
basically 80 playing 65.
Yeah, but he can do it because he's Harrison Ford, and they also have this
Good.
the aging stuff. But
Mhm.
I mean, Harrison Ford is really. I don't know. I think he did something about 10 years ago because he looks better now than he did 10, 15 years ago. If you've seen him in the show Shrinking with Jason Segel, he plays a psychiatrist who
Mhm.
has Parkinson's, and he's the best thing about that show. And he's funny and he's bright and he's handsome and cool. And
Yeah.
it's like, so he can make this movie.
Well,
you
see,
know, so-
Philip being married to Callista Flockhart means
Yeah.
his weight's going to be good because there's no food in the house. Because
Well, he
the
does-
poor woman doesn't eat anything.
He does look like he weighs about 135.
Yeah.
You know, he's bantamweight at best, sort of. And he's shrunk a couple of inches. He's not Han Solo anymore,
Yeah.
but he's still really watchable and really interesting. And part of the movie is that he is this Jerry Action kind of hero. He is an old guy.
I like it.
When he gets off the horse, he's having trouble getting off the horse.
So you're saying this gives all of us old guys hope
I'm
for the
saying
future?
This is a much better ending to the series
All right.
than the Crystal Skull movie that came out, in 2008 or so?
Yeah.
You know, the only thing I
Yeah.
liked about that movie was when he hid in the refrigerator to survive the
Oh.
nuclear blast.
Oh, yeah, that's.
But
that's a
usually,
big
if you get in those things, you can't get out from the inside.
And
They
it-
didn't talk about
And it's
that.
interesting because Spielberg is not directing this one. It's James Mangold who did Walk the Line.
Right.
And I'm not saying it's not a great film, but it is a respectable. It's a good ending to this series. It really is. It takes it full circle. You
Very
don't have
good.
somebody else playing the character.
Yeah.
You know, River Phoenix played the young
Right.
Indiana Jones. That's how old this whole thing is.
And he's
because-
been gone forever.
Yeah,
From
exactly.
the Viper Room. Wow.
Exactly.
Huh.
So, and yeah, I think everybody's going to see it, and I think everybody should see it. I mean,
I'm in.
what's her name? The British, and see this
Phoebe
is
Waller-Bridges.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's great.
Yeah, she is.
There's some surprises. Karen Allen shows up.
Well, she's got to.
Yeah, I mean, this is aging me, but boy, did I have a
I wish
crush on Karen Allen
back in the
day,
dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
She was with Peter Riegert in Animal House. What are you
and then
talking
with,
about?
And then with Donald Sutherland. in Animal House,
yeah,
which
that
was-
caused the
which
problem.
just kind of broke my heart.
Oh
didn't it?
yeah. Get away from that
That scene.
that Canadian cradle robber. That's right.
Harrison Ford has a birthday in less than 2 weeks. Do you know how old he will turn?
81.
81. Yeah, that's that. Yeah, but in this movie, he's really playing about 65 because he's getting a divorce and he's sort of burned out of his job. The University of Chicago kind of wants to push him out, retire because he's not really into teaching classes anymore. And why would he be? Because it'd be this generation,
Oh yeah. They don't know anything.
This is like 1969 is when it's set. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Rank the Indiana Jones movies, including this one.
I'd put this third. I'd put this third. I'd put
So the first one was
two-
the best.
The first one's the
Second
best.
one.
Second's the second best.
This is
and
better. And then Sean Connery and then the other
and
one.
the Sean Connery one is kind of
It's okay.
All right, so
yeah.
I have 3, 1, 2, 4.
The one with short round
haven't seen the
wasn't
next
very
one.
good.
Yeah, that's the
that
second
was
one.
that was kind of weird.
It's sort of like I think it matters in what order you saw them too. If you see them, the first time you see this, it's like it was really cool because it was a throwback to all these old movie serials that really were before our time, or maybe we caught them on Saturday morning TV.
and
or
Lash
something.
LaRue stuff. Yeah, right.
Exactly. It was sort of these cliffhangers.
Zane
And-
Grey, serial westerns.
Yeah, so when it came out, it was like this really wow, we had never seen like movie making like that, So I think that if you jump in on the third, then maybe you like that better, and so. But there's another movie out this week, and that's called Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken, and I have not seen it. But if you saw Turning Red last year, that's the Pixar movie.
Oh yeah,
this is the DreamWorks
Yeah,
kind
this
of
is
answer to it. The high school girl
I saw
who,
the
when
previews.
she gets under stress, instead of turning into a red panda, she turns into a
Kraken.
a sea monster. yeah, exactly.
That sounds like something Basil would like. He likes that movie where the raccoon flies the spaceship. I'm like,
Guardians of the
I
Galaxy.
can't do that. I'm sorry.
So yesterday we had Chris Alley in from Rock and Roll Sushi, and he does a movie, the Average Guy movie review for us, and he did Sisu.
Yeah,
have you seen Sisu yet?
I have not seen it.
That's not the Korean movie.
No,
is it?
that's the
it's the Finnish
movie.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's Finnish, but it's in English, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's in English
Yeah.
because it basically they wanted it to be kind of like a streaming sensation, but then it got a theatrical release, and everybody who's seen it thinks it's great. It's real violent and all. I'm sure he liked it, right?
He did. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, because it's real.
He said he wouldn't advise us to pay $20 to buy it right now, but when it comes out for free, definitely watch it.
Yeah, exactly. It's very anti-Nazi, I understand. too.
Yes.
That's a bold position to take, isn't it?
Isn't it?
We're against the Nazis here.
Well, I had somebody write a letter to the editor, complaining after I said that, if you're going to hit somebody in the throat, might as well be a Nazi. And someone said they stuck up for the Nazis.
We had an LSU
a
fan.
literal Nazi sympathizer.
We had an LSU fan an hour ago that was chiding me about judging LSU for calling them cheaters. I said, they are cheaters. Okay. They vacated wins in football this week. Their basketball coach was fired over cheating. How is that wrong by calling them what they are?
They're cheaters.
They're cheaters. Okay. I don't hate the player. Hate the
My
game.
alma mater.
I'm
They're
sorry about
cheaters.
that.
No, that's
but-
okay. That's okay.
I did on the entertainment news. I forgot about this email. I was going to mention it. The breaking news, I guess, a little earlier. Alan Arkin passed away.
89.
89. Yeah.
Mm.
Wow.
Argo. Basil quoted that in a text to me a little bit. He said Argo, and I won't finish the rest of the phrase,
Argo.
but it was Arkin said that a lot in the movie Argo. Arkin did, yeah.
Freebie and the Bean.
Freebie and the Bean. I thought his kid Adam was pretty funny too. He was in Northern Exposure. He was great.
Adams had a good career.
He has.
Under the radar career.
Very
It's
much.
like him and George C. Scott's kid. Campbell Scott.
Campbell Scott.
Yeah, the second generation guys. Yeah.
All right, it is time for birthday trivia. We need 3 callers. We're playing for Elia's Mexican Grill gift card today. It's not an amazing birthday day. There's only 4, although all 4 are pretty notable.
Okay.
We'll knock them out. Call in 661-1037. Win an Elias Mexican food gift certificate.
It's now time for Birthday Trivia in the Zone, brought to you by Elia's Mexican Grill, award-winning Mexican food made fresh daily. Take care of the misses in your life with a personalized tumbler from her boutique. Take exit 108 to Elia's in Morrilton.
Chris is lining up some calls. Yesterday, Philip, we had our couple questions of the day. I'll ask you. Did you watch the match last night on TNT? The Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey and no?
No, I'm gonna look at YouTube and stuff. I wish I had. I mean, it's sort of like it's just run out of time. But how do they play?
I didn't watch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm an 0-1.
Yeah, I don't
So
know.
we
who
got
won either.
3 golfers here, and none of
Nobody
us saw it.
watched
That doesn't bode well for ratings.
I saw the bit about who was it that tried to chug the beer. That's the one I saw. Who?
I'm sure that would be Kelsey, right?
No, it was
No?
it wasn't somebody who was involved in the
Oh.
match.
No,
It was Draymond Green.
Kelsey
Draymond
tried
Green.
to get Draymond to chug a beer.
Yeah, he could not do it. Yeah,
Couldn't do it.
yeah, that's all I saw about.
If
the
he'd have
match.
asked Draymond to punch the beer, he would
There
have
we
done
go.
that.
But I
kick
would
it-
had
kick it
I
in the
not
nuts.
seen that, I would not even have been aware that there was the match last night.
I saw a tweet yesterday, and that's the only reason I
Yeah.
knew it. We mentioned
Same.
it a little bit yesterday. All right, we got our callers. We got our players. Jill, Earl, Rick.
Jill will be with Wes. Earl will be with Philip Martin, and Rick will be with the Pigskin Preacher. All right, here we go. This guy is an actor. He was in movies such as Full Metal Jacket and Men in Black.
Matthew Modine,
He was also in a Law and Order
Lee
spinoff.
Army, Vincent D'Onofrio,
D'Onofrio,
Is
yeah.
D'Onofrio. Sugar.
Private Gomer Pyle.
I love it.
I do too. He was in the Kill the Irishman. He was great in it.
How old is one Vincent D'Onofrio, Pigskin?
62.
Philip?
59.
I'll go the other way. 63.
64. Point Wes.
Mm-hmm. It figures.
All right, this guy is one of the most popular boxers of all time.
Mike
Muhammad
Tyson.
Ali.
It is Mike Tyson.
Ooh.
Muhammad Ali is dead.
Yeah.
Oh.
Muhammad Ali.
I can still have a birthday.
How old is Mike Tyson? Philip.
56.
Wes.
57.
He is 57.
My offense is impetuous.
You're
My
doing a
defense
great
is
job.
impregnable.
Way to go, Philip.
Yeah.
All right.
Just close enough.
I
This
know.
guy-
I'm just trying to add it up.
Pitiful.
This guy is the most decorated Olympic athlete in history.
Reganis,
Michael Phelps.
It is Michael Phelps.
Mark Spitz,
Wow, Michael Phelps.
Babe Didrikson, Zaharias.
It's usually a swimmer or
Yeah.
gymnast.
Ralph
Yeah.
Boston.
Ooh, rough Boston.
How
yeah,
old?
Yeah, so Jim Hines the other day came up on the.
Yeah, it was Monday with
yeah.
us. Yeah.
You were great on that. I
Thanks.
loved you bringing that up. I'm like, why isn't he in the Arkansas Sports Hall of Fame? Well, what did he do? I don't know. Olympic gold medalist, fastest man
Fastest
alive.
man alive for
He's
years.
not in, but everybody in the Jones family's in. So
Well, I think she's on it now.
Okay, well, good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Wes. That was good.
How old Michael Phelps?
39.
40.
37.
38. No point.
Dang, God.
All right. Somebody
I
can
should have
s-
gone 30.
Newman.
It is 4 to 1 to 1.
That's just stupid. Stupid. I mean, I'm trying to hit it, though.
4 to 1 to 1. Someone can technically tie here. This guy was part of a notable short-lived trio for the Warriors in the 90s. He's a 6-time All-Star.
Tim Hardaway. Mitch Richmond.
It is Mitch
Yes.
Richmond.
That's Richmond. All right.
Run TMC.
Run
Yeah.
TMC. Kansas State.
How old is Mitch Richmond? Philip.
Oh, God. 50.
59.
58.
He is
Yeah,
58.
It would have been 60 is what I was thinking.
You guys are great.
Wes
I
is
just
such a
can't-
tailgating.
Now I can't even
I get Wes in the neighborhood. I'm the dude that comes through the gate, and Wes comes behind
Right
me and
behind
just
you.
drives right in.
Exactly.
That's
Thanks.
Wes.
Thanks for the code.
Yeah.
Hey, congratulations, Jill. Earl, Rick, you can thank your players for getting really close to the birthday, but not close enough.
Don't hate the players. Hate the game. I do hate the game.
All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, more with Philip Martin. We've got the Zone Rewind. We've got Champs and Chumps. Yeah, we still got a lot to get to in the next 30 minutes. Let me tell you about Big O Tires before you head out on a road trip over this weekend or on a summer vacation. Make sure your tires are in good shape. Right now, Big O Tires has a $100 off select set of tires. 2 locations, Conway and Cabot. In Cabot, it's Prospect Court right in front of Kroger. In Conway, they're on Harkrider. Great selection of tires, all the name brand tires. Plus, they have the Big O tire, and they do maintenance. If there's something wrong with your car, if you want to get it checked over before you get on this road trip, go to Big O Tires. They got mechanics on hand that will take a look at your car and get you back out there running as good as ever. It's Big O Tires, the team we trust.
Champs and Chumps is brought to you by Everbowl, providing craft superfoods, acai bowls, and smoothies that fuel for an active, unevolved, healthy lifestyle. Located in the Pleasant Ridge Shopping Center in West Little Rock, next to Santo Coyote.
Right next to Santo Coyote, right behind Juicy Seafood.
That's right by where I work. That's where the Pinnacle Church of Christ is. I'm like, where is this place? I'm like, I could walk there. I just learned something. Good job, Wes.
Well, it is awesome, and my daughters love it. I see it on my bank statement all the time. I'm like, when did y'all go there? Like, oh, we were hungry, so we ran by there for lunch. And that's what they'll do. They'll have one of those instead of a lunch. It's a great meal replacement, and God, it's so good, refreshing. And it's one of those when you eat it. They came up last week and we had the small ones this time. The first time they brought us like the big one, and it was a ton. But the small one was the perfect amount. I was full afterwards, but not stuffed. And I get this energy, but there wasn't, sometimes when you'll eat and then you have the crash, there wasn't that crash.
Yeah, I'm
afterwards.
looking at it right now. Superfoods,
Oh, yeah,
nature
no
in a
doubt.
bowl. That looks really good.
No, it's very, very good.
Yeah,
Big.
I'll have to get over there.
You should go after you go to Costco, then go Taylor Loop, come back up Highway 10, stop there, and then go to the house.
That would be better than me going over to Crumble Cookie and getting a $5 cookie. Then after I eat that, I'm like taking a nap.
Much better, much smarter.
Good.
There you go. I made your afternoon for you.
Good for you.
All right, I'll give you a champ. Last night on Fox 16, Madison Fitzpatrick did a story on Kayla Beaver. She was one of the pitchers for UCA, and she is transferring and going to Alabama. And, at first I was like, God, I hate that, that UCA finds her, they develop her, and now she's gone for her senior year. And then I listened to her and her story. Her mom and dad went to Alabama. She grew up an Alabama fan. Her dream was to pitch for Alabama. She didn't get recruited out of high school to go to Alabama, but now she's got that chance for her senior year. She left everything on good terms at UCA, and as she said, we accomplished so much at UCA. We literally put the softball team on the map. And people will be like, where is UCA? What city is that in? And now people know about UCA softball, and that's partly because of her. I wish her good luck. I wish, we could cover her for one more year here at UCA, but she's living out a dream. And who am I to say, no, you can't do that? So
Hey,
good luck to her.
At least she's not going to Oklahoma.
Alabama's pretty good too, though.
The rich
I mean,
get
it's not
richer.
Oklahoma, but,
Yeah, true.
Good. So she's my champ. That's good.
Good for her.
To get to live out that dream.
I'm going to give my champ, I've mentioned him a few times this week, but Ronald Acuna Jr. of the Atlanta Braves is on pace for a 40-40 season. 40 home runs, 40 stolen bases. They don't steal a whole lot.
Are they going to have to give him a raise if he gets that?
No, because he's under contract
For 10
for
years?
10 years, $12 million a year, which I mentioned
So you're
earlier.
saying he signed a bad deal?
He did sign a bad deal.
That's
Is
a
he your
Scottie
chump or
Pippen
your
deal.
champ?
No, he's my champ because he's playing well.
His agent is your chump.
There you go.
He is a chump. But he's got 19 home runs, 36 stolen bases, 51 RBIs, and he's batting .331 on the year. Pretty good.
I got another champ. I just saw this. Jalen Dupree, running back for Malvern, had a huge game in the state championship game as they won the state championship. He has just committed to Colorado State. So congratulations to him. He had some D1 offers and heading to Colorado State.
They've got really good helmets. They
Yes,
do. They have
I
like
like
the
the
Rams,
Rams.
helmets.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I like their uniforms.
Philip has a champ. Tell him about Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, well, it's like we just witnessed the best season of best month a baseball players ever had in the history of the game. And nobody's talking about it. Shohei Ohtani hit 396 in June. He's leading the league in home runs, second in RBIs, just barely. And in June, he had 5 quality starts.
I think he's also
322. He struck out more batters than innings pitched. And he's on pace to hit 50 home runs. To hit 350 home runs,
That's
to drive in
insane.
130 runs.
I think he's third or fourth in stolen bases.
Yes,
My
exactly.
second.
Goodness.
No,
Remember-
he's second.
Remember, I was
He's
reading
behind
the stat.
Acuna?
Yeah.
He's like turned it into Little League.
So
You know,
he could win the MVP and the
And
Cy Young.
Yeah.
actually, I think he was 4th in stolen
Yeah.
bases.
That's
He's
nuts.
like
I
year
like
old
that.
that came back to play Little League. Yeah, exactly. Sort of fake birth certificate guy. Check his.
Yeah, the guy in the deal when I am 12.
Yeah,
I saw. Yeah,
Yeah.
Transformers. I've saw quite a few tweets from 2012, and people were tweeting their GMs and be like, "Get this Shohei Ohtani guy."
Yeah.
because
Wow.
they had heard about him over in
Wow.
Japan. Really
Yeah,
good.
Ichiro turned out to be pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
They play a good brand of baseball.
I'd be over there looking for some young Japanese stars and signing those dudes up in a minute.
My chump of the week is the PR and the marketing staff for the match. Last night they had the match, but apparently no one knew about it. I just
This
happened
happens
to
every year.
see a tweet yesterday before we went on the air, and I was like, Christian, did you know the match was tonight? They did a terrible job.
It happens every year.
I didn't even hear about this until you brought it up about an hour ago.
Guys, there's you have Major League Baseball. That's all that was going on. They should have owned the sports night last night.
Yeah.
I mean, because you have golfers who want to watch. Then you have NBA fans who would want to watch, and you should have some NFL fans that would want to watch. So it's a great crossover of
The
three different
people
sports.
were bored and had nothing to do that would want to watch.
And it's on TNT, and it's a great team with Ernie and Chuck, and I
Right.
love those guys. But they should have been hyping this up, blowing it out of the water, marketing PR. They failed. You're my chump of the week.
Chuck got to break the news to Ernie that he was going into the Sportscaster Hall of Fame.
Do you know that's the only thing I've seen on Twitter? Any clips from last night?
Did Ernie get emotional?
He did.
He usually
he did.
gets emotional.
He didn't. I mean, he didn't cry or anything, but you could tell.
He's had an
It was-
amazing journey.
No, he's a great
with his,
guy.
with his father, his career, his health. I mean, his bow
His
ties.
adoption of
Is
the,
it-
the son.
It's awesome. Great story. It is.
I'm going to give a chunk to ESPN. I don't necessarily like the people that they laid off, but they've laid off Jalen Rose, Keyshawn Johnson, Jeff
Yeah.
Van Gundy, Max Kellerman, Susie Colbert also.
Susie,
Yeah.
I just want to kiss you. They're cutting salary, obviously.
Yeah.
That's all
So-
that this is about.
My thing is, they paid Troy Aikman and Joe Buck like $70-something million a piece, and no one wants to watch that broadcast. They want to watch Peyton Manning. They
Right.
wasted money.
Joe Buck is making that much money.
Pretty sure.
Yeah, pretty close.
Little nepotiz. Man, that's ridiculous.
So they get a chunk for their money allocation.
I do like Aikman. I don't know
I
about.
thought Kellerman though was their guy. I thought
Yeah.
I really did.
He's been
I,
with them for a long time.
Yeah,
Yeah, the Mannings are sitting around in their den and outdrawing all of this stuff.
I also saw where Alfonso Ellis got laid off as well.
The Fonz,
Hmm.
Notre Dame. There
You
go.
mentioned Aikman, and someone wrote in on the text line. I didn't see it until after Reed left. They were asking if the Troy Aikman's beer 8 would be here for the great Arkansas
Troy
Beer
Aikman
Festival.
has a beer.
Oh my gosh!
I didn't know
It's
that.
only sold in Texas.
Is it good?
It's outstanding.
Really?
I had some friends who went down there and picked up a 6-pack and brought it back to me, and we drank it one day by the pool. And it's a light beer.
No kidding.
Low calorie. And that's how he markets it for the the person working out, for that's the health conscious person that doesn't want a lot of calories or carbs. But it, unlike some of the others that try to do that, it had a good flavor.
Mhm.
It seemed like you were drinking a beer.
I got to get you and Acre over to Subiaco, to the Abbey.
Oh
or
yeah,
the
they have the
monastery.
monks.
The monks have their own.
yeah, they have their own.
They have
beer.
their own brewery. They have multiple types of beer there. They make their own beer. They got a
Yes.
brewmaster who's one of the brothers, and that was the most interested I've ever heard Acre in going to the monastery. I said you could take a vow of silence and go hang out with the monks and drink beer. So,
What I've had is pretty good too. I
Mhm.
haven't had all of them. They had a guy, the brother who's doing it is like transferred.
this is the second guy. Yes, he was running like
entered the portal?
he was
Yeah.
running a micro brewery and he joined
Like
the
in
order.
Chicago, and he
But the
joined
last
order,
dude
yeah.
that started
Yeah.
this, Brother Basil, he fell in love with some girl, so he left.
Is that spelled differently than our Basil?
Yes,
Yes.
this is Basil. Brother Basil left the order because he fell in love with this girl and got married. So this other dude
That's a
came in
movie.
and he's running things. It is.
Mhm.
I hang out with these guys, and they're fascinating. So yeah, if you ever get a chance, Subiaco. Yeah.
All right, when we come back, we'll start to wrap it up. We got the Zone Rewind. We'll check in with Out of Bounds, see what's going on next. You're in the zone. Great weekend to go to Oaklawn. It's always a great time to go to Oaklawn. Entertainment all the time. They've got Pop's Lounge, which features live entertainment every weekend. Fun never stops there. And the $150,000 slot tournament is coming to an end. The grand finale is July 1st. They're now accepting debit and credit cards for Oaklawn Sports through the Play Plus feature. Makes it easier than ever to bet on the Oaklawn Sports app. Some of the entertainment coming to Oaklawn: Chris Jansen, July 2nd, right around the corner. Ricky Skaggs and the Kentucky Thunder on July 14th. The Four Tops, August 25th. The Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, September 10th. Tickets are on sale right now at oaklawn.com. Make your weekend getaway plans, or heck, during the middle of the week, head on down to Oaklawn. Plenty of things to do. You got the spa, you got great restaurants. Of course, you got the casino. Make it your summer getaway right now at Oaklawn. Westmore Christian Weaver, Pigskin Preacher, Philip Martin. Wrapping it up, got the look at the zone. It's been a great week. It's been a great Acre-free week.
You look more relaxed. Is that true?
Huh. I don't know why.
I can't imagine why. I don't know what it is, but yeah.
So he's got this Johnny Carson type deal. So he just takes like summers off. Is that?
He's got a guest host.
Yeah,
so
guest host.
that's where you and I come in.
I'll give it to him. He's stepping up and taking one for the team. He's going to work Monday. He's one of the few people working Monday.
Yeah, it looked like everybody and their dog is out on vacation. So.
In fact, Josh is going to produce the morning show and then stick around and run the board for Acre.
I thought Acre didn't want people doing double duty.
Well, sometimes
Desperate
you got to.
times, desperate measures.
Okay, I got you.
It's going to be a pretty short staff on Saturday. Parking lot's going to be, on Monday. It's going to look like a Saturday.
You got the few, the proud, the Marines coming in on Monday. Good call.
They're like the post office. They're going to be running on Monday, but not
neither rain nor
else.
sleet nor snow. There you go.
All right, let's take a look back at these on Rewind.
Now it's time to look back. It's the best interview and show moments of the week. It's the Zone Rewind. Brought to you by Mosquito Joe's. Don't let pesky bugs spoil your summer. Mosquito Joe rids your yard of mosquitoes, fleas, and ticks so you can enjoy being outside. Call 501-508-2528 or visit arkansas.mosquitojoe.com for a free quote. Mention the buzz and you'll get your first service for just $39.
Monday, we were at the Arkansas Sports Hall of Fame golf tournament at Chenal Country Club. Did the show live out there, had some great guests. So to set this up, Cliff Harris, Pro Football Hall of Fame, it's going to get him on. 12:30 comes, I walk in there to go get him, and he's taking a big bite of that barbecue sandwich. And I'm like, well, he looks at me like, you keep eating and join us at 12:45. And I was like, well, I need a guest for 12:30. His son, Matt, was sitting right next to him. Matt played for the Razorbacks, of course. And I said, Matt, you come join us. We hadn't heard from you in a long time. I think it would be great to talk to you. And he's like, nobody wants to hear from me. I mean, I don't have anything to say. What are we going to talk about? And I was like, come on, Matt. I know how good you are. You were a great interview in college, and I've had him on radio shows afterwards. You'll be fine. Come on and join me. It turned out to be, in my opinion, the best interview of the week. And I had more people comment about this interview than anything else we did this week. Here's Matt.
You still talk with Coach Petrino?
I haven't talked to him since, December 28th, 2009.
You're kidding me.
Not a word.
Never talked to him since that Liberty Bowl day before the Liberty
That shouldn't surprise you. I don't want to come on here and talk bad about anybody, but I'm not a bad guy. I'm not an unsocial guy. I haven't fallen off the face of the earth since that Liberty Bowl. I was a kid. And was it a mistake? Yeah, the first person I called was my dad in there for obvious reasons. But, for him to have defined my career like that, I've had to redefine who I was. And it's helped make me. Remember that fall down, you get beat stuff, right? It's not all talk.
Yeah.
You got to live it. And to not have a word with that guy since that day, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't surprise me. If I see him again, I've thought about what I'd say, and I still don't have a good sentence to say to that guy.
If you don't remember this backstory, Matt was suspended for breaking team rules. I think curfew the night before the Liberty Bowl. He got caught sneaking out.
Well, he wasn't riding around on a motorcycle with somebody he gave
Yeah.
a job to. So, I mean, let's put this in perspective. Just saying.
And before that, to set it up, I had asked him about Houston Nutt because he played half his career for Houston Nutt, half his career for Bobby Petrino. And I asked him, do you still talk to Houston Nutt? And he went, oh, no, yeah, I talk to him a couple times a week sometimes. I talk to him all the time. Talked to him earlier this week. And then I followed it up with,
Well,
talked to
Houston's a
Bobby Petrino.
regular person with a real personality, unlike others. So.
Matt Harris, good time with really the entire day at the Arkansas Sports Hall of Fame. The next day with the Fearless Friday High School Football Coaches Golf Tournament. Had fun doing that. Also Wednesday out at Bradford Marine with
I got to
Lev
go.
and Joe Klein and Christian was
Nice.
there. Joe brought food basically for everybody at the Bass Pro Shops. I mean, seriously, we had one of those big side by sides. We let the tailgate down and he filled it with barbecue.
Corky's can feed some folks. They really can. Your interview and your get about Jim Hines and his omission from that was great. I loved it. I'm like, he's exactly right. Why is this guy not in the Sports Hall of Fame?
I think he will be soon.
Olympic gold medalist. Good for you. That was excellent.
Was
Thanks.
was today the only day you didn't have food during the show?
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yes, today was the only day I had.
Lucky week for you.
Yeah, I had to. That's why that sandwich tasted so good. It was the first time I'd had the double stacked ham and turkey with a little bit of ranch on there. John Neighbors joins us now. What's up?
What's going on?
That's a good day. It's Friday. It's the start of a 4-day weekend.
Or in my case, a 9-day weekend.
Oh my gosh!
You're off next week.
That's right. That's right.
What are you doing?
Going to the beach. Going down there to Seagrove.
Seagrove.
Yeah.
Be careful.
Trust me, I am. In fact, I was talking with my buddies that I'm going to meet down there. I'm like, I'm probably not even going to get in the water, to be honest, unless it's like, right here at my stomach.
Yeah.
And it's just, but like, talking about with the thing with Mallet, I saw it had nothing to do with the riptides. It was a yellow flag and everything. It was just a freak accident. So we got to be careful.
The sheriff, and I thought this was great. David Basil got the sheriff for the county, not where Destin is, but I think it's the next one over, but it's where David grew up. A family friend was the sheriff, and he came on, and he was kind of explaining the weather that has caused these riptides, and it was just a series of storms that came, and it was churning up the ocean. You had all these water from the rain that kind of flooded, and it's going out in the Gulf and causing some of these riptides, but he seemed to think that it had settled down and was getting better, but still he said you got to use caution out there.
Well, it's kind of nice because I'll admit my least favorite thing about the beach is actually the water itself. So I actually enjoy, the sand and the vibes and the wind and the things to do and
the scenery.
Yeah.
Just looking out at the Gulf and the vastness.
Yeah. It felt like falling asleep or blacking out, depending on how you do it on the beach with the wind. I mean, it's just nice. So yeah, it's like, I'm not too broken up about not getting into the water. So it'll be a good time though. I'm ready for the vacation. It's going to be fun. And then media days will be up here before we know it too. So
No doubt.
gone in Nashville. Be a fun time.
What are you doing today on the show?
Well, today we're actually starting our nomination process for the enemy of the state here in the state of Arkansas. Something I did a few years ago, and I want to bring it back, where essentially people are going to nominate the sports figure here in the state of Arkansas who they hate the most. And then
In the state?
well, just like, people, for instance, people hate Chad Morris. All right. That's because he's a hated person in Arkansas. So we're going to have nominations today, and then not next week, but the week after, we're going to actually have a bracket style voting to where we find out who the true enemy of the state is for Arkansas.
The most hated person.
The most hated person. And there's some fun things in there. People are like, one person just said already Texas. So I was like, okay, well, we might consider that one. It's not a person, but I mean, if we need to fill out, if there's like an odd number in the bracket, it was like, yeah, we could probably throw it in there just to see. So, but yeah, we're going to have some fun with that too. Steve Sullivan's going to join us, and also Matt Zimmerman's joining us. I know he was on your show earlier
Monday
this week, but we're having him on because all the new renovations and things that are going on with the university. He's going to talk to us about that and kind of what things he wants to see Bud Walton in those renovations and what they go through. So it'll be a good show.
How do you feel about the possibility of the fans or the students sitting over there on the other side, kind of behind the benches, so that you would see them on TV?
It needs to happen. It's like Arkansas. Bud Walton is, to me, the greatest atmosphere in the SEC in basketball, but have without a doubt the worst student seating of any place. And it's disgusting. It's pathetic. It's needed to change for a long time. So wherever it is different from where they're at now is always going to be better. So I think either on that side or behind the goal, something like that.
Yeah, college basketball, you think, mean, I remember it as a kid, as a student, and you want to be a part of the action as much as you can. And to me, when the TV camera's on the court and you can see the students on that other side, that makes college basketball. That makes for a great environment, especially for TV. And I get a little jealous sometimes when I'm watching these other places and all the students are going crazy. And you rarely get to see the student section in Arkansas unless a camera, goes over there or over the shoulder and does something.
I've always compared it to, it's like if you're watching it on TV, motion causes emotion. So if you see a lot of students going crazy and that's what you see in the stands, you're like, okay, that's next level atmosphere right now.
Yeah.
But people have gotten crazy there over on the other side too. But they've been loud and they've been clapping. But when you see dudes jumping around and punching each other and kicking each other in the junk and stuff like that, like going nuts, then it means a little bit more. So,
you got the Duke fans. They can almost reach out and get guys when they're inbounding the ball. They're right on top of them. That's worth a few wins.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll talk to him about that. It's going to be great, though.
All right. Awesome show today. Phil, thank you for coming by.
Anytime. My pleasure.
Pigskin, great.
Yep.
Loved it.
Christian, have a happy birthday. Sunday, right?
Right.
Sunday.
Thank you.
Have a happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday.
He's 22.
Y'all have a great 4-day weekend. Acre will be here Monday. Christian and I'll be back on Wednesday. Thanks for listening. Have a great weekend, everybody.